It's the Orioles on Masson, and the Orioles happy to be home on Jackie Robinson Day. That from the gallery on Utah Street, a beautiful depiction of the sliding number 42. The Orioles come back home after the visit to New York and Boston to take on Tampa Bay, a team they took 2 out of 3 from in the first series this year. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne. We want to add our condolences and our sympathies and send out our prayers to the victims of what happened in Boston and to their families. I thought from a sports perspective, it was summed up by the Chicago Tribune as well as it could be put. This was the banner on their sports page today. If they would allow me, we are Baltimore Red Sox. We are Baltimore Celtics. We are Baltimore Bruins. We are Baltimore Patriots. We are Baltimore Revolution. And Mike, a very obviously long 2 days and a great tragedy in Boston.
It sure was. Just a horrific tragedy up there. And certainly our thoughts go out with the families and the victims of that unfortunate incident. There are terribly bad people out there in the world, but I think you saw from the response to that explosion or the explosions up there, there are a ton more good people out there, people that care about other people. And the sentiments there from the Chicago Tribune, you see how a nation kind of rallies around these unfortunate incidents. Well, the world's going to rally around it as well, because the Boston Marathon has such an impact on everybody, and there are so many people involved in that marathon.
Listening to WBUR, the public radio in Boston today, the line that is being picked up all around the city is, "You picked the wrong town."
Yeah.
That pretty well sums up the way Boston people feel.
Well, there's a lot of anger there. Certainly everybody is sympathetic and just want to take care of the victims of that tragedy there. But there's anger. They want to find out who did this. They want to bring them to justice.
And kind of ironic, there was another battle fought yesterday. It was recognized around baseball, and will be again today here at Camden Yards. That's Jackie Robinson, number 42, as he broke the color barrier. His wife yesterday, I thought, made the succinct comments about what she wants remembered about her husband. He was committed to change. He was committed to Ricky, Branch Ricky. He was committed to himself. And I think the commitment is the important part of it. That from Rachel Robinson regarding her husband and all the accolades as part of yesterday's celebration.
Yeah, pretty amazing words right there. And I'll tell you what, Jackie Robinson really had such a huge cultural impact, not only on the game, but obviously what happened here in the United States with the civil rights movement and stuff. Great courage. It just shows the amazing character that man had, what he had to go through to rise to the top and become one of the greatest players of all time.
And the Baltimore Orioles and Tampa Bay will all be wearing number 42. There's going to be a moment of silence here before this ball game gets underway. We turn you over to the public address announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and that gentlemen remove your hats. This evening, we pause
to remember and mourn those whose lives were taken during yesterday's tragedy in Boston. We are deeply saddened by this tragic event, and our thoughts and heartfelt condolences are with all of those affected. We also pause to honor the memory of 2 Orioles superfans who recently passed away. Tommy Cornelius was a passionate Orioles fan who attended virtually every Orioles home game and event and engaged in ongoing conversation with media and staff in the press box. Earlier this year, he passed away after a lengthy battle with cancer. Matt Herschel also attended nearly every home game as a season plan holder and shared his love for the Orioles with fans throughout the ballpark, especially during batting practice. Last week, he was killed when a car struck him in front of Baltimore City Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in honoring all the victims of yesterday's tragedy in Boston, as well as the memory of Orioles superfans Matt Herschel and Tommy Cornelius with a reflective moment of silence.
Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at mbusa.com. And by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback. And it is fresh here at Camden Yards on a beautiful evening. Take a look at our train game time temperature. 73 degrees. I mean, it is a really nice night. Train is celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Here's the starting lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. They are not hitting, coming in from bottom to top. It'll be Jennings, Johnson, and Zobrist, Longoria, Joyce, and Escobar, Loney, Lobaton, and Full. You see Ben Zobrist this season, good numbers on the year, but even he's struggling a little bit right now.
And here's a look at the scouting report this evening for Jake Arrieta. Build off the last start. Last start only threw 69 pitches through 5 innings compared to 93 to get through 5 innings in his first start. Threw the ball very well, really minimized the damage, which has always been a huge key for him. So build off that start, and you expect to see him throw the ball very well tonight. But he's got to do it by commanding the zone with his 2 best pitches, his fastball and his curveball. 2 plus pitches. If he can throw those in the strike zone, he will have a huge night. Keep them down. Gary just said that this Tampa offense has been really struggling. They're hitting 205 as a team. So make your pitches, avoid the big innings, and you'll have a great start, Jake Arrieta.
Arrieta comes into this ball game with a 2-3 lifetime record against the Rays. A high 5.88 ERA lifetime against them, even though the Tampa Bay batting average is only 234 lifetime against Arrieta's. What that means is those walks that had bothered Jake in so many starts have risen up in the Tampa Bay games.
Yeah, it always happens. You give a team extra opportunities, and most generally they're going to take advantage of it.
All right, we are ready to go in the celebration of Jackie Robinson here at Camden Yards with all the number 42s on the field. The first ball to left field. It is way back, and goodbye home run on the first pitch of the ball game. Desmond Jennings delivers the long ball, and the team that wasn't hitting takes one pitch to get one on the board, and it's 1-0. His first home run and his second RBI.
Well, he made up his mind. He was going to be swinging the first pitch. Most pitchers start a ball game, want to get ahead with a strike. Not a bad fastball down the middle, but at the bottom of the zone, and he gets to it fine. You talk about guys, this Rays offense kind of being in a stall pattern. Well, he came out to try to change that. First swing of the night.
That is the first home run off Arrieta. And Kelly Johnson swinging as well. So Arrieta gives up the homer. Jennings gets it on the first pitch, and a 1-0 lead. On the season, that's only the 6th home run Tampa Bay has hit. They've been out homered 14-6 now on the season. Shift is on. Kelly will take it. Kelly Johnson is the designated hitter in the ball game. He had a 1 for 5 in the opening series in Tampa Bay. They've moved Jennings up to Kelly Johnson up to that number 2 spot to try and get him going. He'd been batting further down in the lineup, and according to Joe Madden, this is about a confidence night for the DH.
Yeah, definitely want to get him up to the top. Feel like he's more part of this offense. There are a lot of guys that get on up there. Actually, the hottest hitters. Jennings swinging the bat. Well, you saw him hit that home run. I mean, there aren't a lot of numbers there, but he has been swinging the bat better. Zobrist and Longoria. If Johnson can get in that mix, it'll really help push some runs across the board for them.
We saw Ice hitting only 185, 5 hits and 27 at bats. He'll foul that one away. And the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Johnson with Zobrist waiting on deck. Well, for Buck Showalter, ball club comes home where they played only 3 games, 1-2, losing the series to the Minnesota Twins, home for a 9-game stand, and happy to be doing that while this Rays team's concluding their road trip. The Rays are 1-5 on their current road trip. They went 1-2 at Texas, then they got swept by Boston. Joe Madden's team won 44 games and lost 37 on the road last year, but a 1-5 start on the road right now.
Well, with their offense kind of sputtering a little bit, I would suspect Madden might try to energize this offense with some situational baseball. You might see them more aggressive with hit and runs. Maybe trying to steal some bases, even though Matt Wieters is very stingy at allowing stolen base runners.
Kelly Johnson will forever have the distinction of breaking up the no-hitter Clay Buchholz had going in that game against Boston on Sunday, the game they played there, and no-hit bid broken with a broken bat single leading off the 8th inning. And that ball he had to hesitate on, fouls it away. It'll stay at 2-2.
We're putting together a good at-bat here. Tampa Bay's last 7 games. Here's a look at their numbers. 156 average, just 1 home run. And with runners in scoring position, 1 for 28. I mean, there is a lot of concern here in the early part of the season with the Rays offense.
2-ball, 2-strike delivery coming from Arrieta. And that's going to be fouled off. So here's an at-bat. Following a first pitch home run, Kelly Johnson goes in the opposite direction, fouling off pitches. And the 10th pitch of this at-bat is going to be coming up.
It's really amazing. You see Jake Arrieta, the stuff he has is unquestionably great. And a lot of hitters, sometimes they just are able to foul off some of his nastiest pitches. That's a great fastball right there. Jake should have gotten that call. He certainly wanted it. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Great location. It hits the box. Looked like a strike from here.
Now a 3-ball, 2-strike count. And 6 foul balls in this at-bat by Kelly Johnson. And there's another one. Man, he is piling them up here on the fastball. Got around on it, came inside on him, and he just took it, fouled it off to keep the at-bat alive. 31-year-old. He started 10 of the 12 games so far. DH, left field, first base, second base. Another utility player for Tampa Bay. And a foul ball again. It's an unbelievable at bat.
It really is. And Jake is throwing him everything in the book right now and continues to just battle.
Johnson with the 0 for 3 against Jake Arrieta in his career. Not much of a breeze blowing tonight. A little bit out towards left field at the start of the ball game. Lights on. Twilight time. 3-2 delivery again, and he got him. So Arrieta will win the battle, but it took a while, and there's one away.
Well, he had to work for this strikeout. He made some great pitches along the way. Finally gets him rung up on an inside fastball. Once again at 96 miles an hour. See that great movement in there. Can't even bite on it.
That will bring up Ben Zobrist. Zobrist has been putting the bat on the ball, even if not collecting a lot of hits. Still a .317 overall batting average, 3 doubles, a home run. And the pitch taken away. He's got 10 RBIs. He has been their leader in that department in the runs batted in. And Zobrist against Arrieta, 2 for 10 lifetime. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and that'll be laced in the air to left field. McLouth going over. He'll have time and put it away.
Here's a look at the Orioles defense tonight. Nate McLouth in left, Adam Jones in center field, Nick Markakis in right, Hardy and Flaherty once again up the middle, Machado and Davis on the corners, and Matt Wieters doing the catching.
And here is Evan Longoria. Longoria finally getting the home run he'd been waiting for Monday in Boston. Not only was it his first home run of the year, it was his first extra base hit of the season. Just kind of amazing. He had 11 consecutive singles before he got the homer and the extra base hit. It was the longest into the season he had gone without a home run. 0-1 count on him. And he'll take the pitch away. So Arrieta trying to just settle down, get out of this right here. First inning's actually been Arrieta's strength over his career. Doesn't give many up in the first. Ball punched up in the air to right field, going back on it. Markakis, it's flying and caught right into the gate. That ball just kept going and going. Jennings delivers the leadoff homer. The Rays take an early 1-0 lead. Lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines for the Orioles. McLeod, Machado, and Markakis, Jones, Davis, and Wieters, Hardy, Flaherty, and Reimold. Matt Wieters' career against Tampa Bay. Those are impressive numbers.
And here's a scouting report for Roberto Hernandez, the pitcher formerly known as Fausto Carmono. Pitches to contact. All three of his pitches he can throw for strikes, fastball, slider, and a change, but it's his power sinker that separates him. Great late sharp action on the arm side, and you'll see a lot of ground balls from him if he's right.
Orioles have beaten him already once this season. Here's Nate McLeod, who will take it down low for a ball. There are the starts he has put up. The Orioles beat him. And Texas got the other win against him. In both games, he went 6 2/3 innings. 1-0 delivery away against the Orioles. He gave up 4 runs, 6 hits. Against Texas, he gave up 6 runs on 8 hits. He has surrendered 1 home run on the season. And he owns a 4-5 lifetime mark against the O's. McLeod coming up to look, and the count goes to 3-0.
Well, when you face a sinker baller like Hernandez, you go up there saying, I've got to elevate the pitch. Get it up in the zone. See it up. Anything down is going to break down below the knees, and Nate's doing a nice job right now.
For Hernandez, he walked 2 in each of the first 2 starts he made this season. Nate McLeod against Tampa Bay in that first series had a 2 for 8 in an RBI, and he is on with a leadoff walk.
Let's take a look at the Rays defense tonight. Joyce out in left field, Jennings in center, Fold in right field, Escobar and Zobrist up the middle, Longoria and Loney on the corners, and Lobaton doing the catching.
Here's Manny Machado. Machado coming with a runner on at first base. Longoria is going to play very close to the line at third, and even with the bag. They set up in the infield, playing Manny Machado to pull. The outfield does the same thing with the Jennings, the center fielder, a couple of steps over towards left. They give him the big gap in right center field. And a big hole between first and second. Runner goes, hit and run. Nope, straight steal, and he got it. The stolen base for Nate McLeod. The Orioles get a runner into scoring position. Orioles have now stolen 7 out of 8 on the season.
A great jump right there by Nate McLeod, and I'm sure they saw the scouting report. You can run on him. He at times can be very slow, and he's even slower with runners at second base. You'd be surprised if Nate McLeod stays aggressive out there.
3 for 3 stolen bases for McLeod. That's going to go right where they weren't playing him. Into that gap in right center and all the way to the wall. McLeod will score. Machado's got a double, and the ball game is tied.
Now what a great approach from Manny Machado. Sinker ballers, you really end up being conscious of that ball down and in. And he stays on it. This pitch is elevated in the middle. He stays through that ball and drives it to the right center gap. Nate McLeod scoring easily, and Manny just walks into second base.
6 RBIs now for the Oriole third baseman. And McLeod crosses for the 7th time. Now here's Nick Markakis. And Markakis will take the pitch down low for a ball. Markakis with the .294 and a couple of home runs. Nick has a 5 for 25 with a home run lifetime off Hernandez. Machado short lead at second with Escobar right behind him. Pitch is going to miss away, and Hernandez having real trouble with the strike zone, getting ahead of hitters.
Well, the book on him was he was more consistent trying to throw balls in the strike zone and pitch to contact, but he's a little tentative now. You face a powerhouse offense like the Orioles, and you see pitchers kind of get worried about throwing that ball over the plate.
2-0 delivery on the way. That is in there for a strike. Something off that, kind of aimed it right to the middle of the plate just to get back into it again. The count goes to 2-1. Orioles as a team 234 with runners in scoring position. They are 11th in the American League coming into the ball game. Nick Markakis in that department, 2 out of 10. 2 ball, 1 strike count. And Markakis right where they were playing him. Escobar will go to first to record the out. Machado moves over to third base.
Real good positioning right there by the Rays.
Orioles have had the big advantage over the last 11, winning 8 of them. Batting average differential. You see the runs per game. The Orioles up in that department. The ERA, substantial difference there. The starter ERA really good. The bullpen for the Rays not good against the Orioles. In those 11 games, the Orioles bullpen strong against them.
Yeah, Orioles just flat out outplayed them in the last 11 games. Better numbers all the way through.
Now runner at third base, and when every run matters, when you have not been scoring, you play small ball and you play defense, and that's what the Rays are going to do. The infield's in. With Adam Jones up, they'll try and cut that run off if Machado goes on contact. Adam Jones will try and get it through or up in the air, and the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Adam, along with Chris Davis, just outstanding numbers. A big 7 for 14 in that series in Tampa Bay. No home runs, 2 RBIs in that series. And he'll look to continue those numbers in this 3-game set against the Rays. 1-0 pitch, Jones to third. What a stop. Longoria looks the runner back. That's the way Longoria played against the Orioles in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Well, he is a Gold Glove third baseman. That was another tremendous play. And you're going to see this all year long. That is a bullet. He gets his glove down as quick as he can. Just great actions over there. Great example, too. Watch his glove right to the ground in a great position as well. Whew. Very athletic. And we've seen him already in this season make a lot of throws from his knees or his backside.
And that will save a run. Now with 2 down, it'll be Chris Davis. 2 down, runner at third. Infield, of course, can back up. Jones robbed on that play of a hit and an RBI. 2 away. Davis 5 for 13 lifetime with a home run off Hernandez. He just demolished Tampa Bay in the 3-game set at the Trop. 7 for 11, 3 homers and 11 RBIs in that opening series against Tampa Bay. Ball game tied at 1. Machado on at third. Infield will go into the shift. Playing him to pull. Outfield straight away. In the dirt. Nice stop made. That'll hold that runner at third base. I mean, he was blasting away at the Trop. Left. Went right, left, and then right center.
That was one of the most impressive series I've ever seen. Career versus the Rays. Look at that 303 batting average, 9 home runs, 26 RBIs in 29 games. And he started this season off with that great confidence from his career. Just amazing numbers against the Rays.
1-1 delivery inside to him, and a 2-ball 1 strike count. Orioles got the leadoff walk from McLouth and took advantage of it. Stolen base and then a double by Machado, scoring him. Now Davis trying to get Machado in from third. 32-year-old right-hander working on 7 days rest. 2-1 delivery, swung on and missed. With 7 days rest in his career, Roberto Hernandez has an ERA of almost 5.5. With 6 days rest or more, that ERA is up there compared to his normal 4.29 on a 5th day pitching.
And they say sometimes sinker ballers, if they're too strong, their ball doesn't sink as well.
Here's the 2-2 delivery on the way, and Davis will go to third base. Longoria's got it. And the out will be recorded, but the Orioles will get that run back, and we've played 1 here at Camden Yards with the Orioles and the Rays knotted at 1. by Luna. Call today for the Luna Double and get your second room of flooring free. 877-241-LUNA. Beautiful evening here at Camden Yards. For those who might be wondering, in light of what happened in Boston, you would not notice any additional security here at the ballpark, but there is. There are a number of extra security people on hand, many plain clothes. The dogs were around, the bomb dogs were around the ballpark today. They are anyway at different times. But all in all, it was very much like any other ball game security-wise coming into the ballpark today. Jake Arrieta goes back to work. Joyce, Escobar, and Loney do up. Matt Joyce, 5 for 12, a homer lifetime off Arrieta. And he'll foul that one off at the plate. Honoring Jackie Robinson tonight, 62 years ago. Ebbets Field came out of the dugout and broke the color barrier in baseball. His number was officially retired in 1997. Players who had it could keep wearing it. Mariano Rivera. 2009, Commissioner Bud Selig said all players will wear number 42 on April 15 every season to honor Robinson. That, of course, was yesterday, the day the color barrier was officially broken. Those clubs who did not play, the Orioles, wearing the number 42 along with Tampa Bay tonight. 1 ball, 1 strikeout. Joyce with a shift on, fouls it the other way, 1-2.
Yeah, you're going to notice that the Orioles and the Rays are in a lot of shifts defensively, and you've seen the Orioles offense hit into some of the shifts already with Longoria. But my point being, the third baseman is really going to be a key on a lot of these shifts. The second baseman and shortstop you'll see on the second base side, but it's the third baseman that can dictate really what a hitter is going to do.
That's a bloop, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. The Bermuda Triangle single, and Joyce is on, leading off the second inning with a single. Masson is giving one lucky fan the chance to meet O's outfielder Adam Jones, part of the meet and greet giveaway. Be sure to visit Facebook.com/Masson Orioles and click on Enter Sweepstakes for your chance to win. Adam heads back out after charging in, trying to get to that one. Second hit for the Rays. Here's Yanel Escobar. Escobar's had a struggle of it at the plate. Arrieta hopes it continues, but Arrieta has found Escobar a tough out. Jumps on the fastball, fouls it right back into the screen.
Escobar most career hits versus Jake Arrieta, so Jake's got his work cut out for him. I'm sure Escobar was kind of licking his lips coming into this series after starting off so slow, thinking that he sees the ball really well off Jake, and Jake understands that he's got to make some changes to offset Escobar's timing.
That'll be outside for a ball. Among the 7 hits he's picked up in 16 at-bats is a home run off Arrieta. Long look down to third. Tom Foley, third base coach, with the signs. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Short lead at first base. Joyce. Throw over. Ooh. Caught him leaning, even though he wasn't very far off the bag, and that was close.
That really was. And I think it was just a kind of a courtesy throw, but he got hung up out there. Joyce did, and very slow at getting back to the base. And I think sometimes runners, with Chris Davis off that base a little bit, they just get, they forget how far off they are.
1 ball, 1 strike throw over again. Well, that's part of the reason they're using Chris Davis off the bag. It's to try and give the runners something else to think about, right?
Sure, it sure is. Definitely.
Because runners don't see that often, and they trying to guess, Laurie, where do I get my lead? We've talked about them going to that shoulder, the second base shoulder. And then Davis, if he moves around at all, that also messes up their leads. Because as he moves, they've got to readjust, trying to figure out, all right, where can I go here?
Yeah.
How far can I go? A couple of the Red Sox were talking about that when we were in Boston, saying, that's a problem. You don't see that enough. We don't see it enough. And if he starts moving around over there, we really have to be careful. And we shorten our lead automatically because we're not quite sure what we're doing.
That's right.
And that's the whole point.
Well, you'd like to see him move a little bit more.
He's running. Wieters is throwing, and got him! Tag put on by Ryan Flaherty, and Joyce is caught stealing.
Well, Matt Wieters continues to excel at throwing out base runners. Not a bad jump. A great pick on the end by Ryan Flaherty, though. You see this quick release from Matt Wieters, but take a look at this pick.
Well, he was safe, but he's out.
He got rewarded for the great pick, I think.
He got that foot into the bag, and I don't think he came off. But, hey, you take him when you can get him, and the Orioles get a break on that one, and Joyce is retired. And that will be fouled back by Escobar with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. It doesn't hurt that Wieters is now 5 out of 6. That gets you a little grace, too, out there, doesn't it?
It sure does. But I'll tell you what, Ryan Flaherty really made the play. The closer you can stay on that base, if you can teach a guy to straddle the base, and Ryan Flaherty really had to fight for that ball, it just makes the play a lot tougher for the umpire to make the call. So he tried and fought to stay and straddle that base, and he ended up coming away with the call.
And a good pitch by Arrieta, and he gets the strikeout against Escobar.
A great breaking ball right here, down at the bottom of the zone. I'll tell you what, if he can start throwing that for more strikes, he's going to get more of those swing and misses later on in the count, because it shows itself high in the strike zone, and there's just so much late break. That ball just basically about bounced on the plate.
So James Loney will stand in. 2 down, nobody on. The Rays have tried to do some running. They've stolen 9 bases now in 12 chances. That's only the 3rd time they have been caught in the base paths. What Mike was talking about earlier, as Joyce got caught, you've got to try and create offense. I mean, they're not hitting. They're not scoring runs. You've got to do things. You've got to run, hit and run. And they've even bunted against the shift a couple of times with players just to get on. Pitch is taken down low. Loney takes it 2-0. Arrieta, 27-year-old right-hander. Opponents hitting 270 overall early on. Lefties 280. Right-handers 250. And that home run given up to Jennings in the first inning, the only homer he has surrendered so far this season. He wants to get a whole game in. The weather's not going to affect that tonight. Against Boston, he left after a 43-minute rain delay, having worked 5 innings, 3 runs, 3 hits. And that one will be bounced at the plate, and 3-1.
Yeah, he was really frustrated that last start about that rain delay, because he felt like he was finally starting to settle in. He worked his way through some bumps in the road. He gives up 3 runs in the 5 innings, but he had only had 69 pitches thrown, so he was starting to really get on cruise, and he would have gone a lot deeper in that ball game.
3-1 delivery on the way, and he walked him. Arrieta surrenders the walk with 2 down here in the second. Enjoy Major League savings over the cost of single game tickets. Become an Orioles partial season plan holder. VIP orange carpet benefits, access to private events, early access to the ballpark. Skip the ticket lines, upgrade your summer. Details 888-848-BIRD or Orioles.com/season. Jose Lobaton, switch hitting catcher. And he will foul that one back.
Well, take a look at this graph right here. The gray is first start, 60% high fastballs. That's a dangerous area, even if you throw 96 miles an hour. But you see his last start in Boston, everything down at the bottom of the zone, a lot more success and a lot fewer pitches. And that's really how he was able to maintain that damage control in that second start.
Lobaton, a big swing and a miss. Lobaton batting left-handed, has had a 2 for 10, right-handed 1 for 5 so far this season. He too struggling at the plate. Runner on at first base. Loney, 2 down, and the 0-2 by Arrieta. It'll be up high. Jake Arrieta here at Camden Yards. He was 2-5 with an ERA of 6.6 in the 10 home starts he had last year. Overall, 31 career starts here, 9-11. ERA of 5.49 in this ballpark. 1-2 delivery, and that's going to miss. Little movement on that one.
Yeah, not a bad pitch actually from Jake Arrieta. ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nice breaking ball down at the bottom of the zone, and you just have to credit Lobaton for not biting on it.
Tony at first base, stepping off the lead with a 2-2, and that's foul back over the screen. Lobaton has not drawn a walk. He has struck out 4 times in the 15 at-bats that he's had. He and Molina sharing the catching duties about equally to start. This will be his 6th start in this, the 13th ball game. Arrieta 2-2 again. Lobaton, broken bat, bloop to second. Flaherty's there and puts it away. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Say hi to the bird, who's home. 1-1. The game, Dwight Stiles of Randallstown. Dwight, you have won $500 just for being selected. You get $100 more for every Orioles hit during tonight's game, and an extra $500 for any Orioles home run in the 5th inning. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery Hit It Big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash. Go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. Jackie Robinson Day recognized on the bases with the number 42 pin marking, and all the players wearing 42, including the Oriole catcher. Matt Wieters stands in. Wieters, Hardy, and Flaherty against Hernandez. Shift on. Wieters only a couple of hits in his last 26 at-bats. Got off to a good start in the first series against Tampa Bay. He went 4 for 10. He had a home run and 3 RBIs at the Trop.
We were talking about the shift, and you see where Evan Longoria is playing here early on. Now, Wieters, you don't expect him to bunt or anything, but it really gets in the hitter's mind. You see how shallow he's playing right there. Well, Manny's doing the same thing when they shift, just to take that bunt away, get it in the hitter's head. Listen, we're watching what you're doing. We know you're probably not going to bunt, but we're taking it away from you, so go ahead and pull the ball into the shift.
The objective.
Exactly.
Hit into the shift.
Exactly. Now with 2 strikes, he moves back into the regular shift position. But we've seen it a couple times here in the early going. Hitters laying down the bunt just to keep that defense honest. And now you see them respecting it, and third baseman really closing that distance down.
And the 2-2 delivery to Wieters. That will be fouled back. Hernandez keeps the count at 2-2. Tampa Bay has lost 3 in a row. They will finish up this road trip with the 3 games here before returning to the Trop. Joe Madden on the left, a bit concerned. They're already 4-8 and 4 games out in a division that most people believe is going to be a real race all the way to the end. So you don't want to get too far behind. Madden said even at this point, I'm a little concerned, even though it's only 4 games and we're only 13 games into the season. I do not want us to fall 7 or 8 games out early.
No, but I'll tell you one thing that remains consistent for his team is he gets great starting pitching. He has a really good bullpen, and his defense has not let up one bit. So that is a consistent thing, and they can hang their hat on that, and that will eventually win them ball games, even if their offense does kind of go up and down. When they have consistent pitching and consistent defense.
And David Price.
And David Price, of course, and their youngster Moore is throwing very well here in the early going as well. That'll certainly help win them some ball games.
And we are going to get to see both of those in this series. 2-2 delivery on the way. That'll be taken tomorrow. It's going to be Chris Tillman against Matt Moore, who is 2-0. Tillman looking for his first decision. And then the wrap-up game, Miguel Gonzalez of the Orioles goes against David Price, who's looking for his first win. He's 0-1. 3-ball, 2-strike delivery. Wieters right off the end of the bat to hold the count at 3-2.
Well, pretty good changeup right there. Same arm action and pretty much coming out of the same arm slot as his fastball. Great location, 84 miles an hour. Where the lefties are typically going to see that changeup from Hernandez, and the righties will see the slider for the put-away pitches.
And the 3-2 delivery. Wieters gets it deep to right field. Going back, fold at the wall, looking. And goodbye, home run! The Oriole catcher gets one at home, and the Orioles take a 2-1 lead. That was a battle won in grand style by Matt Wieters. His second home run.
It sure was. Worked the count to 3-2. And it's good for Matt Wieters, too. He had a rough road trip. So it's great to come home and start this homestand with a bomb. This pitch had to get elevated, 3-2. Had to throw him a pitch, and Matt Wieters knew what to do with it.
And the Orioles take a 2-1 lead. Second home run surrendered in Hernandez this year.
Pretty good effort.
Just enough to take the bounce on the top of that wall. That's a home run. 1-0 count, J.J. Hardy. Hardy a 3 for 12 lifetime off Hernandez. Hernandez, both of the home runs hit off him this year have been by left-handers. There are J.J.'s numbers. He had a 2 for 13 with a homer and 2 RBIs against Tampa Bay in the opening series. Hernandez the 2-0. Hardy takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, the problem sometimes with that two-seam fastball that has that movement, we've seen really good movement on it, but to lefties, it just moves back out over the plate and gets on that sweet part of the bat. Righties have a harder time with it. Definitely have to get it elevated and look out over. But that pitch, he threw it into Matt Wieters and had just enough movement to get Matt the good part of Matt's bat.
Three ball, 1 strike count. Hardy will foul it off, and again, count will go to 3-2. The Rays starters have averaged about 18, 19 outs, 18 and a half per start. That's the second highest in the American League behind the Royals as far as outs recorded by starters. That's to be expected. That's what Tampa Bay's got to have from their starters. Great jam shot right there. First strikeout recorded by Hernandez.
Yeah, doubled it up with that fastball in. J.J. Hardy pulled it hard the first one. This one just another inch inside. Able to get it under the hands of Hardy.
Hernandez in the previous starts, 2 of them, had 11 strikeouts and 13 in the third innings. Here is Flaherty. Ryan will take the pitch for a strike on the inside corner. He's had an 0 for 3 against Hernandez. See his numbers at Camden Yards are high with that 8.48 earned run average. 0-1 delivery. Tailed it away. Hernandez has not won a ball game in his last 5 starts. In fact, he's gone 0-5 in those starts. 0-2 count. And not going to chase that one. Orioles with a 2-1 lead on the homer by Wieters. RBI by Manny Machado in the first inning. Orioles now 2 runs on 2 hits. Here's the 1-2. Flaherty takes 2-2.
Good take by Ryan Flaherty. He, of course, got a big hit up in Boston. Base hit to really help break things open. Manny Machado ended up hitting a 3-run home run to give the Orioles a big win up there. But Flaherty still trying to get in that groove. He hit a home run up at Yankee Stadium. And you see him go down on another changeup. Back-to-back changeups from Hernandez. First one a really good take down to the bottom of the zone, and this one just a great pitch, great location. Tough pitch to do anything with.
2 strikeouts in a row after the home run by Wieters. Nolan Reimold comes in with a 3-game hit streak for the Orioles. And 0 for 2 in the only times he has faced Hernandez. Reimold working in the DH role for the O's. 0-1 delivery. And a chopper. Longoria. And he got him. So that will retire the side, but the Orioles get the lead. Matt Wieters in his first at bat of the ball game, leading off the second inning. Drills one out of the yard to the 1-0s. It's an essay contest for youngsters through the 9th grade to submit essays about obstacles they've had to overcome using the values demonstrated by Jackie Robinson. This year's winner wrote this: "Without courage and persistence, my successes would only be a dream. I wouldn't be able to find my full potential in life. It was no different for Jackie Robinson. I wish I could have seen Jackie Robinson play baseball, but for now I'll just have to follow his example in breaking barriers." The winner was Luke Lunde from West Point, New York, who has cerebral palsy. And he credits the Jackie Robinson demonstration of courage to what he has had to do in breaking barriers in working with cerebral palsy. That's the winning essay, and we thank Major League Baseball for allowing us to use that quote that came out of the essay from that youngster.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I mean, it's unbelievable that he's had such a huge impact on everybody, not just race, but no matter what background you come from, just so inspirational on so many people.
18,000 essay submissions were given to the Breaking Barriers program, which is run by Major League Baseball, by Sharon Robinson, Jackie's daughter, and Scholastic, the global children's publishing company. A strike taken. Arrieta with a 3-ball, 1-strike count. Cole leading it off, hitting in the number 9 spot, playing in right field. He is 0 for his last 11. 3-1 delivery to him, and that is in there for a strike. Jennings at the top of the order coming up.
Well, one thing Jake has to do is take care of the hitters that aren't hitting too well right now and stay aggressive with them. Don't want to give them any free passes. Let them try to hit their way out of their slumps.
Ball to Tapper. Didn't get out of the box. Tripp trying to get out. Arrieta will make the play. 1 down, 3rd inning. The Orioles are proud to join Major League Baseball this week in honoring Jackie Robinson by having each player and coach wear number 42. You can join in that honor by bidding on these game-worn jerseys at Orioles.com. Each jersey will be autographed by the player who wore it. Proceeds will benefit Baltimore Orioles Charitable Foundation and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. To own a piece of O's baseball history, visit Orioles.com now and make your bid. You can bid right now. Arrieta working to Jennings, who delivered the home run on the first pitch of the ball game, getting his first of the year. Jennings now with a 6-game hit streak and one home run and 2 RBIs against the Orioles on the year. 1-0, that'll be taken on the outside corner.
Well, I like the way Jake's throwing his fastball. He's not leaving pitches out over the middle of the plate. He's really working the edges very well. Velocity still up, 95, 96 miles an hour. So Jake looks good here in the early going of this ball game.
And again, we'll catch the outside corner with it. Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire, the veteran. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And Jennings will take that one outside. Just how tough it has been for this Rays team. They've scored 35 runs, the second fewest in the majors coming into this game. Only Miami had scored fewer. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Popped up down the line in right. Flaherty the best angle. And will make the catch in fair territory. Jennings retired.
A nice play by Ryan Flaherty, ranging way over there into that Bermuda Triangle to come down with that ball, but even better pitch, and a good thing Jake Arrieta got rewarded right there by making such a good breaking ball pitch down and away to Jennings.
2 down. Here's Kelly Johnson. Johnson, the designated hitter, called out on strikes his first time up. These two teams are both struggling for DH numbers. For the Rays, their DHs are now 3 for 40. And for the Orioles, with Reimold DHing, the Orioles are 3 for 41.
Good battle right there.
Yikes. It's interesting, isn't it, what's happening to the DH thing? I mean, the quintessential DHs like David Ortiz, kind of molded into that role, are disappearing.
Well, they are. Managers are looking for versatile players that can go out and play positions in the field. Especially now with all the interleague play.
Yeah.
So they need more versatile players. They can't afford to just sit guys on the bench
and then not be able to play them in interleague games in the National League. So Madden, Showalter, and the other managers kind of spreading the DH roles around now. No more Edgar Martinez. Pitch will be taken inside.
Well, it's not an easy job, DHing. There aren't many guys that can be successful as a DH. They'd much rather be out in the field and play. Just feel like they're more involved in the ball game.
3-1 the count. Shift on. And inside. There's the second walk surrendered by Arrieta. It comes with 2 down here in the 3rd inning. Let's take a look at our Chevy League leaderboard.
Yeah, Ben Zobrist right there up at the top. Robinson Cano with 28 extra base hits at Camden Yards, but Zobrist a big number as well with 21. Nick Swisher on that list with 21, and Evan Longoria, third baseman for the Rays, right there as well with 20. B.J. Upton, who used to be Tampa Bay Ray, had 19.
It's a lot of Rays extra base hits at Camden Yards. Our league leaderboard brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Pitch taken for a ball. 2 down. Here's Ben Zobrist. Zobrist flied out to left in his first at bat. Orioles on top in the ball game, 2-1. Each team with a couple of hits. One-0 delivery to him, off speed pitch, and that's going to miss. And Arrieta with a 2-0 count. Arrieta issued a 2-out walk in the second inning to James Loney, who was stranded. Now a 2-out walk here in the third. 2-0 count. Johnson off first base. And that's taken. And the count goes to 3-0.
Jake kind of falling out of rhythm here. Walk to Johnson, and now 3-0 to Zobrist. That breaking ball, if he could find more consistency with that pitch. He's throwing it, making a good out pitch with his breaking ball, but he needs to be able to throw it for strikes to get ahead of it.
And walked him on 4 straight. So 3 walks in the ball game, back-to-back walks here in the third inning, and the Rays have runners at first and second, and a early key moment in this game as Evan Longoria is coming to the plate.
Well, this is a big moment. Of course, Evan Longoria, Rays' best hitter, best clutch hitter as well. Kind of off to a slow start, though, just the 4 RBIs on the season, but everybody knows how dangerous he is.
Longoria is a .283 hitter in this ballpark. He has had 9 home runs at Camden Yards. Flied out his first time up. 2 on and 2 down. And Longoria will take it outside for a ball. He is 3 for 14 with a home run lifetime off Arrieta. As they say, now it gets interesting. Which Arrieta would just as soon have avoided. 1-0 delivery. Same place. 2-0. That's 6 straight out of the strike zone.
Well, just out. He's making real nasty 2-strike pitches, but what he needs to do is get ahead and throw a strike. He really, the first couple innings, was able to paint that fastball on the outside corner. It'd be nice to see him establish that again, just to get ahead of the hitters.
2-0 delivery on the way. That does catch the outside corner. In the first 2 outings, hitters against Arrieta with runners in scoring position went 3 for 10. Tampa Bay getting only 184 in these situations this year, 13th in the league. 2-1 delivery, and that's going to be foul back. Against the Red Sox, Tampa Bay, the runners in scoring position went 1 for 20. They had some chances, couldn't deliver, and they got swept. And Joe Maddon's team fighting for big hits and fighting maybe exactly what some of these hitters are doing.
Well, that's exactly it. You know, it snowballs. Everybody starts talking about it, and everybody presses, you know, trying to be the guy to break it open.
Here's the 2-2 delivery. Longoria will pop it up. Shortstop. Hardy. He's got it. Arrieta works his way out of it. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 are left on base. The Orioles up. Talk with him about Jackie Robinson. and about becoming part of a family. Listen in.
It made the sport become a true sport. No matter what color, race you are, you still can go out and compete and be a team. You know, we call it our second family. And back then, he was the Dodgers. The Dodgers was his second family. So those guys got to be close for 9 months.
Honorary Jackie Robinson and the number 42 leading off this inning. Nate McLouth delivers a double. So McLouth on as he put it into the right field corner. And he's walked, scored, and doubled.
Well, great words from Wayne Kirby. While Nate McLouth was ripping a double down the right field line, he went out and got this sinker on the outside corner. And you see him slide in safely to the Jackie Robinson commemorative second base.
The Orioles get another chance. Third hit. Picked up off Hernandez. The Orioles have had the leadoff batter on in all 3 innings. And Manny Machado will take the pitch inside. He delivered the RBI double in the first inning that scored McLouth after he'd walked and stolen second base.
Manny's got to have that same approach he had in the first at bat. He was looking for something up and out over, and he certainly delivered with a double. Same situation here. Hernandez going to try to run that sinker in. Try to get it elevated. Something you can handle.
Machado 4 out of 14 with runners in scoring position. Goes the other way. Will it sink? No. Trying to get that runner moved up and almost got him moved up all the way to the plate.
He sure did. But you can tell by his approach. He has a great game plan right now. Trying to execute. Actually drive Nate in, get him over and in one swing of the bat.
You see the socks being worn by Manny Machado. The high socks in the tradition of years gone by in baseball and in honor of Jackie Robinson. And you see a number of the players doing that in the ball game tonight. Not many do anymore. Most have the pants underneath the cleats or right down around the ankles.
That's right. Yeah, they pull them over their cleats to cover up the look of those new spikes.
That's going to get away. And moving up to third base now, McLouth. So the opportunity to score gets quadrupled here on the probably pass ball.
Yeah, this ball just takes off, but Lobaton should have made that play. It just kicks off the heel of the glove. Off it goes.
Infield will stay back with a 2-ball, 1-strike count on Manny Machado. Hernandez delivers, and that's going to be fouled off. Well, Hernandez, we talk about not only how many pitches you throw, but kinds of pitches. Are they pressure pitches? Hernandez has had a lot of those here early on in the ballgame. He's worked that leadoff man on, as we said, in every inning, including the Wieters home run. Working out of the stretch, runners on base, stolen base, pass ball. 2-2 delivery, and he went around, and no argument. Manny Machado goes down swinging. Hernandez gets his third strikeout. That'll bring up Nick Markakis. Let's take a look at our Hollywood League leaderboard.
And take a look at this. Baltimore Orioles highest average by outfielders this season, 342. Nate McLouth, Adam Jones, and Nick Markakis off to a sensational start. Tigers leading the way, 344. Everyone else following.
Slots, tables, and dining, the ultimate triple play at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. Now the infield is drawn in, one away. And Markakis will take it down low for a ball. Nick grounded out his first time up. So again, as they did earlier, Ray's defense will try and shut off that run. Nate McLouth, the runner at third. Markakis 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position. Had a chance in the first inning. Little floater that misses outside and a 2-0 count. Bird's into it. Bird's going to have some work now. 9 at home. Finally, after that 3-game homestand.
Well, the bird better enjoy these nice days before it starts heating up.
And the pitch is taken on the inside corner. That's when you get roast bird. Wind has died down. Hardly a breeze here at the ballpark tonight. We started at 73 degrees. Big hole between short and third. They're still playing to pull even with the infield in. And he does. And a base hit into right field. Markakis, the RBI single. McLouth will score, and the Orioles have a 3-1 lead.
Well, the chance you take, obviously, with the infield in, wanting to cut that run down at the plate, but Markakis able to find a hole, shortening up that infield. Loney gives great effort, but can't come up with it. Markakis with the big RBI.
Our Nissan Pitch Track, your best choice for a new car, Nissan. At Nissan's Best Choice Sales Event, choose from our best ever lineup of fuel-efficient vehicles. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Offer ends April 30th. Visit to the mound. 52 pitches thrown so far. And Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, out to have a word with Roberto Hernandez.
Well, both starting pitchers really elevating their pitch count in the early part of this ball game. Well, it'll be a great opportunity, though, Adam Jones, to keep extending this. They'd like to try to get in that bullpen as soon as possible to start this series off.
Markakis on with the RBI at first base. Here's Jones, robbed of a hit and an RBI by Longoria in the first inning. And it's going to be foul. Mike, it seems to me as I look at Longoria at third base, both third basemen in this ball game most of the time early on here are playing very close to the line, aren't they?
Well, I think Longoria is because of Hernandez sinker. You know, I think hitters are going to start cheating to try to get to that pitch, and the tendency will be to pull it down that line. You saw Manny Machado in his last at bat kind of trying to cheat in there to get to the sinker, and struck out on it. But that's why he's hugging the line so tight.
He looks like the ninth inning over there.
Yeah.
At third base.
Yeah, typically you would not see them that close to the line this early in a ball game, but the tendencies show that right-handed hitters are trying to cheat to get to that sinker because he leaves it on that inside part of the plate. That's his best pitch to his arm side, so a lot of pitches on the inner third get driven down the third base line.
Jones with a 2-strike count. Adam has a 4 for 8 lifetime off Hernandez. Here's the 0-2 delivery. And grounded. He got fisted on that one. It goes to Escobar. 1, no relay. Slowly hit ground ball to get Markakis on the force out. And there are 2 down. Jones will be on at first base.
First baseman, Chris Davis.
And here's Chris Davis. Davis grounded out his first time up. His big numbers against Tampa Bay over the last 12 ball games. 7 home runs, 21 runs batted in, and a .432 batting average in the last dozen games against the Rays. The bat's a base hit, but unfortunately the rule book does not provide for that. It falls in. Time for our AT&T Mobility Trivia Fact. The Orioles 4 home runs this season of the 3-run or Grand Slam variety. They did not reach that feat in 2012 until May 6th.
There's a lot of power in this lineup, and it doesn't hurt that Chris Davis got up to such a great start.
Davis will get the bat back. Over the last 19 regular season games for Chris, he has just been jacking the homers. 13 homers, 19 games, 32 RBIs over that stretch going back to last year. 0-1 count on him. Jones drawing the attention of Hernandez over there at first base. That'll be down low. Chris Davis doubled the number of home runs he had on the road here at Camden Yards last year. He had 22 home runs in this ballpark and 11 on the road. Ideally made for this ballpark when it's alive and the ball's flying, since he can hit it out to any field. Tried to do it there, and the pitch just fell off the table on him. 1-2.
It really does. Probably his best secondary pitch, that changeup. Talked about his arm action with that pitch. It's really deceiving. You try to catch up with that power sinker, and next thing you know, the bottom drops out of it, and it's about 8 miles an hour slower.
One and two down.
We'll take a look at Roberto Hernandez. Here are his pitches: the changeup, fastball, and slider. Slider is, you don't see much for a batting average there, 222, but really his changeup, probably the best pitch. Elevated averages for all the pitches. Surprised you don't see more sliders, but he has more confidence throwing that changeup off the fastball.
When it's working, he has the 4th highest ground ball to fly ball ratio in the majors since 2006. So far this season, 52% of the outs off ground balls. 1-2 delivery. Way outside. Lobaton had set up there. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes on Chris Davis. No question, Davis much more patient. He's drawn 7 walks. 12 strikeouts coming into the ball game.
Well, he's well aware the pitchers are pitching him very carefully right now. He's seeing a lot of different pitches, inside and out. Not many cookies out over the plate for Chris Davis right now, so he has to be a patient hitter.
So Jones will be going at first base. James Loney backs up behind him. 3 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. The Orioles up 3-1. RBI Markakis. Bringing home McLeod, who led the inning off with a double. And the 3-2 is swung on and missed. And Hernandez gets strikeout number 4. And the Orioles get a run. 2 hits, leave a runner on. Orioles up 3-1. And honoring Jackie Robinson, everybody wearing number 42, and the Orioles got to it. Manny Machado had the double, driving in a run. Wieters picked up the home run in his first at bat, his second of the year. And the Orioles also have Crush Davis. Oh, mama! The Crusher.
That's impressive. I think everybody in the game wishes they could do that.
Really?
But everybody realizes that they would probably break their leg before they break the bat.
That's exactly right. You're probably going to see that video a few times in the course of the 2013 baseball season. Oh, man. Back to work, Arrieta now with a 3-1 lead. Orioles 3 runs on 4 hits, no errors. The Rays a run on 2 hits, no errors. Matt Joyce takes it down low. Picked up a single, got caught stealing in the 2nd inning. Joyce, Escobar, and Loney due up. One of the problems for Tampa Bay on this road trip, I mean, it has been just a disaster offensively. They're hitting 160. They've scored 10 runs in the 6 games. And the pitching, they've wasted a 3.20 ERA in the games. Real tough. When you live and die by your pitching, as Tampa Bay does, you just don't want to have that kind of a record where you've had that kind of an ERA over 6 games on the road. 1-2 delivered. They did much better at home. They played 6 games there too, hitting .251. They've scored 25 runs instead of 10 at home. The ERA at home is 5.5, way up over the 3.2 that's been on the road. So it's been that kind of a start for the Rays. Shift is on against Joyce. 2-2 delivery, and that's going to be taken inside. Rays hitters are going to be very patient with Arrieta until he proves he can command those pitches in consecutive innings and consecutive at bats. They want walks. They'll take any free gift they can get when they're struggling at the plate as they are right now. 3-2 fouled off.
Well, that pitch was filthy. That ball moved about 2 feet. Like it was going to be a fastball on the outside corner of the plate. Ran back in. Ended up fouling it off his inside of his leg.
Arrieta again, the 3-2 delivery. And that will be foul back and out of play. Had a lot of foul balls by both sides of hitters extending the at-bats in the early part of this ball game.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jake Arrieta's pitch count paying for it dearly. 72 at this point.
3-2 becoming again. And that's going to be to the gap in right center field. He squared up on that one. Jones over to get it. Joyce going to go for 2. Challenging the arm. And he's in. So Joyce picks up a double to lead off the 4th inning. He had the play in front of him and took the chance.
Oh, he sure did. Something to try to spark the Rays offense. He drives this ball into the gap. This is a Gold Glove center fielder he tries to take advantage of. Great play. Actually, a good throw. Would have had him. Maybe a little over aggressive with no outs, but something to get this offense going. He starts this inning off with a double.
So he's 2 for 2 in the ball game. 2 of the 3 hits the Rays have. And again, the leadoff man on. 3 out of the 4 innings. That'll bring up Escobar, the strikeout victim, his first time up. And he will take the pitch for a strike. Arrieta trying to work ahead of these hitters. He's had a bit of a problem in the ball game. He's only 8 for 15 on first pitch strikes.
Well, that is a big problem. He has to get ahead so that his secondary pitches will become more effective. He starts falling behind.
Chopper to the middle, Flaherty over, gloves it, running throw, nice play. It is a productive out by Escobar, but a nice play by Flaherty.
Yeah, real good play right there by Ryan.
Tomorrow night, the first 10,000 fans at the Orioles-Rays 7:05 game are going to get the MLB drawstring bag presented by MLB Network. If you haven't experienced the new sight, sounds, and taste of Oriole Park in 2013, here's your chance. For tickets, call the Orioles, 888-848-BIRD, or go to Orioles.com. So James Loney will try and get the run in. Tampa Bay's not struck out a lot. They are 5th best at not striking out. They haven't drawn a lot of walks either, though. They're 9th in free passes picked up. James Loney will take the riser inside for a ball. Loney at 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The Orioles stayed back, leading it 3-1 here in the 4th inning. 1-0. That's down the line. That's going to go foul. Hitters just know on those foul balls, or they hope they know, because Loney never dropped the bat or got out of the batter's box, and that wasn't that far foul.
No, it really wasn't. I was surprised he didn't get out of the box.
All's well, it went foul.
Didn't have to pay the kangaroo court.
That's right. Runner at third base, 1-1. Went up, fouled it off, 1-2. Arrieta getting that first strike even early on. The importance of it shows up coming into this ball game, Jake. When he got ahead in those previous starts, 0-1 after that, hitters were 1 for 16. If he didn't, if the first pitch was a ball, they had gone 4 for 12. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Off speed pitch, got him. Fooled him on it. Arrieta gets his 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, really good 2-strike breaking ball here from Jake Arrieta. Right at the bottom of the zone. Super pitch, super strikeout pitch for Jake Arrieta, and that's what happens when Jake Arrieta gets ahead. He's able to go to those secondary pitches, and they are quality.
So a runner remains at third base. Now 2 down. Lobaton, the catcher, popped out his first time up. Joyce, the runner, at third. And that is in there for a strike.
And we've been waiting for that as well. A breaking ball that he can get ahead with a strike. That gets in the heads of the hitters. So now Lobaton's thinking, what the heck is he going to come with here? He's got the 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and now he's showing that he can throw his breaking ball for strike.
0-1 fastball will miss up high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lobaton. Arrieta with a 1-1. And fouls it off, and he gets ahead of him. And a 1 ball, 2 strike count. .22 foul balls. A lot of souvenirs going out through the first 4 innings of this ball game. Runner off third. Here's the 1-2 delivery. And hacked that, fouled off. Somehow kept the bat on that ball as it came in on him.
Yeah, maybe he tried to overthrow that one just a little bit. Matt Wieters setting up on that outside corner, and that ball came back over the plate just enough for Lobaton could fight it off.
Joyce meandering off third. Here's the 1-2 delivery. And got him on a high pitch. Arrieta gets the strikeout 2 in a row here in the 4th inning. No runs, a leadoff double left stranded. Orioles up 3-1. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Chapin Davis Investments, Baltimore's oldest and largest full-service investment company. Call 1-800-222-3246 or visit chapindavis.com. By Verizon Fios Quantum Internet, technology that makes you feel superhuman. That's powerful. And by your local BMW Center. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick. The Orioles open up their 9 at home, honoring Jackie Robinson. You know who the first black player was in franchise history with the St. Louis Browns? If you do, you've got to be a real baseball aficionado. His name was Hank Thompson. Made his debut in July of 1947 with the St. Louis Browns. Infielder, outfielder. He played for the Kansas City Monarchs. Went into the military. And on his discharge, came back, split time between Kansas City and the Mexican League. He didn't play very much with the St. Louis Browns, just a cup of coffee. But he would return. He came back on July 4 of 1949 with the New York Giants. And as a result, he has a unique place in baseball history. The first black baseball player to play in both the American and National Leagues. Hank Thompson of the St. Louis Browns. And a strike called, a 3-1 count on Wieters. Matt delivering the home run his first time up. He'd gone 4 for 30 against right-handed pitchers prior to the homer. Had a slugging percentage of 133 until that home run off righties. That ball into that shift, second base. And Wieters is retired. And that was Zobrist, the second baseman. Here's our PNC minor league report. The great hockey fan and catcher, Caleb Joseph.
Caleb Joseph had a huge night last night. 3 for 4, a couple doubles, 2 RBIs and a run. This season really off to a great start. .313 batting average. Caleb Joseph, fine catcher. He's in the AA team of Bowie right now, and has been in the organization for a while and put up some good numbers, and certainly has been on the map for Buck Showalter. You know, John Russell speaks highly of him. Really calls a good game, and it's nice to see his bat on fire here in the early going.
Here's J.J. Hardy. Our PNC minor league report brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Hardy, a strikeout victim. Hernandez, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Arrieta's 3 walks and 4 Ks. Roberto Hernandez with a pitch down low, and a 2-ball 1-strike count on J.J. Hardy.
You can see Hernandez pitch count getting up there as well. 69 pitches to this point.
2-1 delivery. Good movement down. 2-ball 2-strike count. Orioles had not allowed a first inning run coming into this ball game. First pitch of the game, Jennings drove it out for a homer. That has been it for the Rays on the scoreboard. The Orioles responded in the first on the double by Manny Machado, the homer by Wieters, and the RBI single by Markakis. (3-2). First base, Loney. Hardy out of there, 2 down. This Saturday, you can join fellow O's fans at Oriole Park for a very special celebration of Earl. It will begin at 6 o'clock. Guest speakers will include Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Jim Palmer, and more. Join all here of Birdland in honoring the Earl of Baltimore before the game against the Dodgers. That's a celebration of Earl, Saturday at 6 here at the ballpark. For details, go to Orioles.com/4Earl, the number 4 Earl. Ryan Flaherty, strikeout victim, his first time up. And again, note the start time on that, 6 o'clock here at the ballpark. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
That should be a great celebration.
Yeah.
It really should.
Be a lot of emotions, and there'll be a lot of smiles.
Yeah.
Because Earl gave that to baseball and to those who knew him. 1-1 delivery. That was nasty. 1-2.
Yeah, rare slider down and into Ryan Flaherty right there, just swinging over the top of it.
and got him. So Hernandez retires the side in order for the first time in the ball game. He's got 5 strikeouts now, but the Orioles have the lead. With you, the Orioles have a 3-1 lead. Mike, the Orioles begin all important, but this is the first long homestand, and you really like to make some hay out of it.
Yeah, you really would. I mean, they just got off a tough road trip up to Boston and New York, but it seems like they've been on the road for 3 months. You know, spring training, only came home for that 3-game series, so it'd be great to get off to a good start here. 9-game homestand. Show the Orioles fans what they have.
What do you think of Arrieta so far in this ballgame?
Well, I think he's pitching really well. Unfortunately, a lot of guys, the Rays hitters, are just battling him tough, you know, fouling off a lot of pitches. But he's throwing balls in the strike zone. He got out of a huge jam that last inning, and what I think was very important for Jake and the Orioles. And he's got great life on his pitches. Started to throw his breaking ball more consistently that last inning, and I think that's a big sign for him. See if he can get through this inning and maybe one more. But great life on his fastball. I think he's throwing the ball pretty well.
So Arrieta working here. Sam Fold will take the pitch inside. He grounded out his first time up. Jennings and Johnson to follow. The walks have not hurt him so far in the ball game. 3 walks surrendered by Arrieta, back to back with 2 down in the 3rd inning, both stranded. 2-0 delivery, but you can see, as we said, Tampa Bay is aware of his control problems, and they're standing in taking.
Well, after getting out of that big jam in the last inning, I mean, lead off double and then able to get out of it with back-to-back strikeouts. I think he'd be more aggressive in the strike zone so he can get a little bit deeper in this ball game.
That is taken for a strike. With a ground ball out in his only at bat in the ball game, Cole continues the 0 for his last 15 at the plate. Three ball, 1 strike delivery. Arrieta showed bunt and went after it. Cole didn't think so, or didn't want the home plate umpire to think so, but it's 3-2.
Yeah, I don't know how he could tell if it was a ball or strike anyway. He was almost at first base by the time he attempted to bunt this ball. Head's moving so much, he doesn't really know where the ball is. As you bunt, you're expecting it to be somewhere by the bat head.
3-2, got him. Arrieta comes back, gets the strikeout. He's got 5.
Well, that's a great answer right there by Jake Arrieta. Fell behind 3-0, worked himself all the way back, and gets this little cutter slider at the top of the zone for the backward K.
So Jennings, leadoff batter, home run, first pitch of the game, 1 for 2. Jennings has a 6-game hit streak now. During the streak, he's picked up 7 hits in 22 at bats. First time he'd had an opportunity to face Arrieta. Didn't take him long to deliver. Here's the 1-0 delivery, and that'll be outside. 2-0.
Well, obviously one of the big issues that will be addressed in this ball game for Jake is the fact that he's not been able to consistently get ahead of the hitters. And if he can get strike one, you already talked about the numbers and the success he has. That's just a huge factor. When you fall behind, you have to come with that fastball more often, and the hitters gear up for it, and they know that, you know, inconsistencies can happen, so they're just looking up and out over the plate.
Only 9 out of 19 first pitch strikes in the ball game. 2-1 delivery on the way to him, and that'll be foul back. He continues to battle back. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Arrieta, 27 years old, 19 wins, 23 losses in his career. No longer a young pitcher. And young for most of us at 27, but for pitchers, this is when you got to do it. 2-2 delivery on the way. That'll be up high, and the count goes to 3-2.
Well, we've seen Jake have great games where he looks like a #1 starter, and then games where there's inconsistencies. But everybody agrees that he has big league stuff and certainly deserves an opportunity to really become a starter, an everyday pitcher.
And he blows that by him. Again, he comes back after falling behind. That's 4 strikeouts in a row.
Well, you've seen his weapons, and here's a high fastball that Jennings can't get to, and Jennings hit the first pitch of the ball game out of the ballpark. Well, you challenge him with a high fastball, and he blows it by him. And we've seen him have a devastating breaking ball as well. So great weapons for Jake. It's just a matter of location and getting ahead of hitters.
There is Kelly Johnson, the designated hitter. He has walked him and called out on strikes. And Johnson will take the pitch up high. Orioles leading it by a score of 3-1. We'll be right back here tomorrow night. Chris Tillman and Matt Moore for game 2 of this 3-game set. Dodgers will be coming in for the weekend series. That matchup's Hamill, Chen, Arrieta will be involved in the 3 games against the Dodgers. 2-0 count. And inside, and the count goes 3-0. Seems like these batters that come up with 2 down and nobody on are the toughest for Jake to deal with.
Yeah.
He's given up a couple of walks in those situations in the ball game. 3-0, that's there.
Ooh, big number right now. 100 pitches in the 5th. Now, his last start only had 69, and I was commending him on that performance, really being pitch efficient. But we've talked about him falling behind hitters and then some long extended at bats by the Rays hitters fouling off pitches, much like that.
And the count will go to 3-2 again. 3-2 on Johnson, 2 down, nobody on. Arrieta looking to strike the side out, and he walked him. So another 2-out walk here in the 5th inning, living dangerously. Start your night of Orioles baseball off with the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow, 5 to 6:30. On today's show, Mike Bordick joined the guys with his take on the Orioles division opponents. I sat down with Wayne Kirby and we talked about Jackie Robinson. You can join Tom, Dave, Mel, and Phil tomorrow as they talk about the Orioles' latest news and headlines. Mid-Atlantic Sports Report, 5 to 6:30. Here is Zobrist. He is walked and flied out. Kelly Johnson on at first base. And the pitch will be taken away for a ball. All 4 walks surrendered by Arrieta in the ball game have come with 2 away. And the bullpen going to stir, and the bench sends Wieters out to the mound. Troy Patton just beginning to throw with Longoria on deck. Kind of hold your breath right here if you're Buck Showalter.
Yeah.
Have you waited too long on him? You want him to finish the inning. Runner at first, 1-0 count. Zobrist, good pitch. Breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Nothing harder at the major league level for managers than deciding when to pull that starter or when to make pitching changes. All managers say that's the tough one.
Especially in the early part of the season.
Yep. 1-1 delivery on the way. Came back with a fastball and got it in there. 1-2. First base walk, Kelly Johnson. Zobrist with the 1-2. And their best hitter this year. Throw over. And Johnson is back. Zobrist, lifetime against the Orioles here in this ballpark. A .306 average at Camden Yards with 4 home runs. Here's the 1-2. Runner goes. Swung on and fouled away. So the Orioles reading it right on the throw over before, figuring Johnson was going to run, trying to catch him, maybe leaning. He gives Zobrist the gap. Left center. And a swing and a miss as he came in and ate him up. So Arrieta does strike the side out for the walk coming on with 2 down. The Orioles still have the 3-1 lead.
Camden Yards, Manny Machado in the first inning, delivering the RBI double, scoring Nate McLouth, and Matt Wieters in the second with a solo home run to get him going here on this 9-game homestand. Nick Markakis then delivers with the RBI single, scoring once again Nate McLouth from third base. And here is the game summary. The Orioles have the lead 3-1 going into the top of the 5th. Roberto Hernandez still on. Jake Arrieta, 5 strong innings. A lot of pitches, though. 4 base on balls, but 7 strikeouts. So we've seen some good things, and we've seen some bad things from Jake so far in this outing.
Here is Nolan Reimold on a check swing. Will foul it off. Reimold grounded out his first time up. I was talking to Nolan before the game today, and I said, did you know you take more pitches per plate appearance than anyone in the majors? And he was like, what? Did you know that? Well, he does. 1-1 delivery, and that pitch will be taken inside. Showed you our Geico game highlights. Geico saving people money on more than just car insurance. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Down the line and foul. He said he was surprised that his number, 4.76 pitches per plate appearance, would be number 1. It's a little bit low compared to last year's, but he's in a group with Will Venable, Gabby Sanchez, Eric Hosmer, and Paul Goldschmidt, top 5 in most pitches seen per plate appearance.
Managers like that. Work the count, go deep in the counts. Got to get that starting pitcher or any pitcher to throw as many pitches as possible.
And got him. A wrinkle on that one, and Hernandez gets the strikeout. That's going to be his 6th of the ball game. Time for the 5th inning home run bonus. For this inning only, today's Maryland Lottery Hit It Big contestant of the game will receive $500 for any Orioles home run. Dwight Stiles, you've already won $900. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery Hit It Big contestant of the game, play 5-card cash. Go to mdlottery.com/Orioles to enter. Good luck. And here's Nate McLouth. McLouth drew a walk, stole second in the first inning, came home on the RBI by Machado, and then doubled and scored in the third. RBI Markakis. And that pitch is taken down low. 2-0 count.
Yeah, going to that slider a lot more here in the middle innings of the ball game. Going to mix up his pitches. 83 pitches to this point.
.2-0 delivery on the way, and that is there.
Terry Davis really giving him the bottom of that strike zone.
McLouth waiting on the 2-1 delivery, and that one will miss. And the count goes to 3-1. If you watched every game, you'd probably think Nate McLouth saw as many pitches per plate appearance as any Oriole.
Yeah,
as he does seemingly take a lot of pitches, foul off pitches, and have real tough at bats. 3-1 delivery to him. That'll be grounded to first base, gloved. Loney will go to the bag himself to record the out.
Take a look at Roberto Hernandez. First time through the order, very low batting average, 133. But you see that steady climb, and third time through, obviously the hitters make the adjustments. When you only have 3 pitches, you can only go to so many. The hitters are able to get on that. Obviously getting a little bit tired as the game goes by too. That fastball gets elevated, hence the higher batting average.
2 down with the bases empty. Manny Machado has doubled and struck out. And you are seeing so far in this game the kind of ball game Tampa Bay has been playing of late. They got the first run and got the lead, but they haven't scored anything since. That was the first inning. And their hitters not getting much done, and their pitcher delivering a ball game where he's given them a chance to win. But for Joe Madden's crew, just not enough offense to take advantage of the pitching. 1-0 delivery to Machado's fouled off. Finally get to play baseball in Colorado. The Mets are out there, snowed out yesterday. They're playing a doubleheader. Yankees have the interleague game, Arizona at Yankee Stadium. 1-1 delivery off the end of the bat. That'll be looped to right field. Cole is there to haul it in. Manny Machado's retired. That's going to be 8 in a row. Set down by Hernandez. Orioles up. Is brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you, by Chevrolet, find new roads, and by Ocean City, Maryland. Visit OCOcean.com and click on Lucky Summer at 13 for special deals and discounts. Gary Thorne and Mike Warnick with you here on a beautiful Baltimore evening, and a real good crowd on hand for the opener of this 3-game set against Tampa Bay. And staying out there, Jake Arrieta, the Orioles starter.
I love it. 107 pitches. I'm glad that Buck and Rick Adair let Jake go back out. I mean, you look at the board, only 3 hits given up. So his stuff is, there really limiting this offense, even though this Tampa Bay offense has been struggling. But 7 strikeouts, and he's really been impressive the last couple innings. I mean, you can see how dominant he can be.
It's a little push right here on Arrieta by Buck Showalter. They want him to be able to go deeper into a ball game. The starters have got to do that, and if it's going to take 115 pitches, so be it. 2-0 count. Evan Longoria. Longoria's popped out, flied out. Score here makes a difference. It should leave him in. In fact, it's a team that's not hitting makes a difference. You might not do that against a ball club that's hot, or you might. That's the moment by moment choices Buck Showalter was talking about before the game regarding the Oriole pitchers, particularly the starters. Here's the 3-0 delivery. Longoria, green light, will foul that one off and out of play.
Well, I think it's a big confidence builder for Jake that Buck, lets him go back out for this inning, even though that pitch count is up. Jake's got to learn how to work through some things. And like I said, I think it's been an impressive start. The fact that he's had to battle through some tough innings. He's come up with some big pitches when he's had to. Just a couple adjustments,
3 ball, 1 strike count to Longoria. And that's outside, and there's walk number 5. And that is a leadoff walk here in the 6th inning, and that's going to do it. So Arrieta will be coming out of there 5+ innings. He'll be responsible for the runner on. Again, he gives up only 3 hits, but it's the 5 walks, most troublesome, but the 7 strikeouts sure look good, and the Orioles got a chance to win the ball game. So does he.
Got his team into the 6th inning, and you saw some dominant stuff. Great breaking ball there. Nice riding fastball, about 96 miles an hour. Really threw every pitch tonight and pitched himself out of some tough jams. Only gave up 3 hits. Command was a little bit of an issue, to say the least. 5 base on balls. But 7 strikeouts, so he's got dominant stuff. Just 3 hits given up. But that pitch count got jacked up with not only the base on balls, but a lot of tough at-bats. You have to credit the Rays a little bit. They fought off and fouled a lot of pitches, but a pretty good performance by Jake Arrieta. Now Troy Patton on 4 games this season with nothing to show for it.
So Patton will work with a runner on at first base. Joyce going after the First one and missing. Matt Joyce, a single, a double. He was caught stealing when he reached on that base hit in the second inning, which really helped Arrieta, as Wieters has now thrown out 5 of 6. And Patton's pitch is in there for a strike. Brought on to face the left-hander Joyce, then Escobar, and then another left-hander. Loney will be due up in the inning.
Well, that's the beauty about Troy Patton. Buck Showalter has no problem putting him up against right-handers. Let him go deep a couple innings at times. Great matchup guy. Very effective on lefties, but also very, very effective on righties.
Joyce, a couple of hits and 8 at-bats. Lifetime off the Oriole left-hander. Longoria at first base, and the pitch will be outside. Tried to get him to bite on a couple of pitches away, and he wouldn't do it. Watching is Arrieta. He leaves responsible for the runner on at first base.
Not even winded.
Yep. And came back inside and missed with it. So a good eye by Joyce. He works the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Joyce has had only 3 at-bats against left-handers, 0 for 3. Last year he hit only .209 off lefties. 3-2 delivery by Patton. He got it in there, way out in front, and just enough to foul that off. Count stays 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And Troy Patton, real good confidence in that slider. Throws it at any time, proves it right there. 3-2 count.
Managers, wheels working, checking their matchup cards. 3 ball, 2 strike count. Patton will do it again. Runner stays. That ball is launched in the air to center field. Jones going back and has it lined up. He'll make the catch. Runner will tag. Longoria will get down to second base. A long fly ball out by Joyce. Take a look at our Dodge inside the numbers in the Orioles pen.
Yeah, Orioles bullpen just picked off right where they left off last year. Very dominant. 3-1 record, 3 saves. Look at that ERA, just .88. 30 strikeouts and just 5 base on balls. These guys come out of that bullpen to pitch.
See your authorized Dodge dealer and experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Schedule a test drive. Go to Dodge.com. Check out their powerful lineup. So a runner in scoring position, Escobar 0 for 2. He has struck out, grounded out, and will take the pitch for a strike. Escobar 2 for 11 off the lefties so far this season. Last year, 258 off left-handers. The shortstop has had a struggle at the plate so far, and he will take that one for a strike.
Well, what makes Troy Patton so difficult on both lefties and righties is just he throws across his body, kind of steps towards the Oriole dugout, and it's really tough for a right-hander to pick up. And next thing you know, it's on you. He throws a fastball about 93 miles an hour with great movement.
0-2 delivery outside. The Rays so far 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. So you go back to that Red Sox series they completed. They've had only 1 hit in their last 24 at-bats in these situations. Escobar, 1-2 delivery inside. We mentioned the Yankees are at home playing Arizona in interleague play. Tonight the Yankees played Sweet Caroline at the ballpark. That, of course, is the theme in Boston at Fenway. They did it recognizing what happened in Boston. And Neil Diamond sent a tweet, said, "Thank you, Yankees, for playing Sweet Caroline for the people of Boston. You scored a home run in my heart." From With Respect, Neil Diamond. 3 ball, 2 strike count on Escobar.
Matt Wieters having a little conversation, maybe just getting Escobar's head a little bit with the open base over there, but don't want to put an additional runner on. Try to attack and be aggressive with a quality strike here.
Escobar struck out in 1 out of 2 in this one. He has struck out 12 of his last 43 at bats. Down to third base. Manny Machado gloves it. Plenty of time. Holds the runner. Gets the out.
Manny making play look so easy. A tough ball down the line.
Shelley Duncan is going to be the pinch hitter. Duncan, power hitter, off the bench for Loney, who had a walk and a strikeout. Right-handed batter to face the lefty Patton. Duncan 1 for 10 off the lefties this season. Runner at second base, 2 down, and he will foul that one back. Orioles, of course, are going to enter interleague play with the Dodgers coming in for the weekend series, 3 games. Overall, so far, the National League has the edge over the American League 8-3 in interleague games that have been played, with interleague play, of course, starting on opening day and will run throughout the season with the move of Houston over to the American League. 0-1 delivery, and that's going to miss inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Duncan.
The Rays have had some pretty good opportunities throughout this ball game with runners on base, but they've been unable to once again come up with that big hit with runners in scoring position.
Another chance here, and that's going to be popped up. Shallow center. Jones in. He's got it. Duncan's retired. So again, the Rays can't move that leadoff man around. Stranded at second base. Orioles up 3-1. As Chris Tillman will take the mound against Matt Moore. Our coverage on MASN HD begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Geico, followed by our game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on MASN. 23-year-old Matt Moore.
Yeah, Matt Moore is off to a fabulous start, 2-0 with no runs given up to this point, 13 Ks. And 8 base on balls. Chris Tillman looking to settle in much better in his last start. He is ready to go, get this season underway. Had his opening day Blues and then pitched much better in his second start. Should be a great matchup.
Moore 2-2 against the Orioles, while Tillman is 1-3 against the Rays. Duncan will stay in the ball game and play at first base. Loney out. Orioles bat, bottom of the 6th inning. Here's Nick Markakis, RBI single, and he is grounded out. Nick takes the count to 1-1. Nick took the first pitch, and he does that 87% of the time. He takes the first pitch so far this season. 1-1 delivery. And that pitch will be taken down low.
Well, Nick is definitely not afraid to work the count. He has a great understanding of his strike zone, and he can use the whole field. So he's unfazed no matter what count it is.
2-1 delivery on the way, and that's going to miss outside. The spread on the Orioles on first pitches taken goes from Markakis at 87% at the top to Chris Davis at 55%. Just a matter of method of hitting, what their idea is when they come to the plate. Here's the 3-1 delivery, and fouls it down. Mickey on the phone, the pitching coach to the bullpen. 94 pitches thrown by Hernandez. Threw 105 first start, 113 the second one. 3-2 delivery, and he walked him. So the Orioles get the leadoff man on here in the 6th inning. That'll bring up Adam Jones. Yesterday, part of honoring Jackie Robinson, Adam Jones hosted over 100 Orioles RBI League players and coaches, a private screening for the movie 42 over in South President Street here in Baltimore. Reviving baseball in the inner cities, RBI, the youth outreach program of Major League Baseball. And Adam Jones taking part in that yesterday, looking to get the kids between the ages of 13 and 18 to stay in school, develop self-esteem, and experience the game of baseball. And the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. Adam is just so good about doing those things. He loves to work with the kids. Sometimes players lend their names to things but really don't do very much about it. Adam Jones puts his name on it, and he's there. 1-0 count. Way inside with a heater, and the count goes to 2-0.
Yeah, Adam Jones has grown into a great ambassador, not only for the Orioles but for the game of baseball. Really loves kids and helping out his community, and certainly done some tremendous things for the Baltimore Orioles.
Jamie Wright is the new member of that bullpen for the Rays, and you see him throwing out there. Jeffrey Neiman going on the disabled list, and the Rays having to change things up a little bit. 2-0 count. Jones lashes that one. That's going to be a base hit. Markakis will make the turn, head to third. Joyce up with it into second base. It'll be a double for Adam Jones.
Well, Adam Jones gets on this pitch up and in. Real aggressive there. Actually breaks his bat. But you look at him hustling out of the box. He smells double right away. Gets in there safely.
So the Orioles give themselves a chance to put some distance on the board. Hickey's going to go out. Joe Madden talking to him as he turns around to look back towards the dugout. The Orioles leading it by a score of 3-1. Rays can ill afford to give up any more, but the Orioles got a real chance here with these first two on. Jones coming over to chat with Markakis over at third base. And Chris Davis waiting to get his at-bat in. Jerry Davis, home plate umpire, is heading out. And Hernandez talking with his catcher about how they want to work here. Davis, then Wieters.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do in this situation. They were talking to the infielders as well about positioning. Well, they're going to walk
him. They're going to make the pitching change. Just wanted to draw some time and give the intentional pass. Chris Davis. Each manager looking to try and figure out what the other's going to do before he does it here. Davis will get his second intentional pass. It will load the bases, so it creates that force out opportunity with nobody out. It also forces whoever's going to pitch here to throw some strikes. Outside, and there's the walk. And here comes Wieters.
Well, it really forces the Rays into a tough situation where they have to play the infield in and try to cut that run down at the plate. I mean, they're realistically still in this ball game. I mean, it's a very tight ball game, but pressure situation for both Hernandez and the Rays defense here.
Joe Madden directing traffic. The infield drawn further in on that left side. They've got Escobar playing on the grass at second base, literally. Pitches outside for a ball, so Hernandez stays on. There are the Oriole base runners. The walk to Markakis, the double by Jones, the intentional pass to Davis. Wieters has already delivered a homer leading off the second inning. He's grounded out in his other at bat. A 1-0 count. And Wieters will foul that into the screen. Well, Matt got to it here, opening up this 9-game homestand.
Yeah, big swing. First at bat here on the homestand. 12th career home run versus the Rays, and he just gets it out of the reach of Bold out there in right field. And
Matt has a great 340 plus batting average against the Rays to go along with those dozen home runs. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. 3-1 ball game. O's lead it. Hernandez trying to find a way out of this. He's got to get the ground ball. Wieters the 1-1. And he'll chop that one foul. Or, of course, the strikeout. Which he has put up 6.
Yeah, that's been a really effective pitch for him throughout this ball game. That changeup down and away. A lot of lefties fishing for it. Nobody's been able to hit it yet.
Orioles 2 for 6, runners in scoring position in the ball game, and their biggest chance at a big inning right here. Wieters will take the pitch inside. 2-ball, 2-strike count now to be sure. Leviton heads out to the mound. In a pitcher's game, only 3 runs scored by the Orioles, 1 by the Rays. Orioles have 5 hits, 3 for the Rays. 2 walks in this inning, 1 intentional, have created the opportunity with Jones's double in the middle. I think after he walked out, he'd know what he was going to throw here. But he asked for the signs again. Here's the 2-2 to Wieters, and he got the strikeout. A big one. That's 7 Ks in the ball game. Hernandez battling on here.
Well, Matt Wieters had 1 pitch that he was unable to take advantage of, and it was that first strike, up and out over the plate. And then Hernandez went to work down at the bottom of the zone. Nasty change-ups. That one had incredible movement as it faded away from Matt Wieters. Really good pitch.
So J.J. Hardy will stand in. Bases remain loaded, 1 down. Hardy. And a pitch diving in on him. Orioles have the 1 grand slam hit by Chris Davis. With the bases loaded, they have gone 3 for 12 on the year, including the 0 for 1 here in this inning. Hardy is struck out, popped out. Fouled off. Infield double play depth against him. When the Orioles win, everybody wins all season long. When the Orioles win and they score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. Oh, to the count. Stays alive. Little pool shot off the end.
He's making some really good pitches here. This tough situation with the bases loaded. Big strikeout to Matt Wieters, and he's pitching J.J. Hardy tough. A couple tough sinkers that ran in under the hands of J.J. to get ahead, and another one of those changeups away.
Infield, looking for the ground ball here. Hardy with the 0-2 count. Hernandez delivers. Hardy will take it. Hernandez had hopes, didn't get the call. 1-2. Interesting, both managers letting their starters go deep into the pitch counts here in this ball game. Arrieta making his third start. Same for Roberto Hernandez. 1-2. Hardy, broken back ground ball. Got to come home. Off the plate. Get nobody. Longoria trying to get the out at the plate. Could not do it. A run will score. Markakis in. No out recorded. And the Orioles have a 4-1 lead.
Well, big hit for J.J. Hardy. Real tough play for Longoria as it takes him to his left. Really tough to come back, cross your body, and make that play. Unable to do it, and Markakis able to score. And you see the frustration in Hernandez's face. He made the pitch. It's just one of those tough plays that they couldn't execute.
So Joe Madden is on his way to the mound, and Roberto Hernandez will be coming out of the ball game as Hardy's able to pick up the RBI for the 4th run. And for the Orioles shortstop, that's his 8th of the year.
Ball team in this game, 5 1/3 inning, just 5 hits. Ended up giving up a few walks, 7 strikeouts, but they should be real happy with that performance. Gave the team a chance to win and had multiple opportunities really to score and tie this ball game up. But Jamie Wright comes on. Now he's been in 5 games, nice low earned run average, 1.59. He's a veteran right-handed pitcher. He's been around 17 years, so he knows what to do out there. Still throws that fastball up there pretty good, low 90s. He's a big breaking ball, a little cutter and a slider to go along with it.
So right out of the bullpen, the Orioles still have the bases loaded. They've charged an error on Longoria on the Hardy ground ball. So the error charge, still Jones, Davis, and Hardy are on. And the delivery will be in there for a strike. Ryan Flaherty, bases loaded, 2 strikeouts in the ball game. Wright spent the season with the Dodgers last year, 5-3, 66 appearances. Converted to the bullpen in 2008. 0-1 delivery. Another slow roller. Only out's going to be at first, and an RBI for Flaherty. So Flaherty gets Jones in, and the Orioles make it a 5-1 game.
Well, definitely frustrating for the Rays pitchers, executing some good pitches. A couple broken bats, but absolutely nothing to show for it except an elevated earned run average. Although the one to Longoria was an error. This one handcuffs Flaherty, but he's able to pick up that RBI, scoring Adam Jones.
Now there are still two in scoring position here. And here is Nolan Reimold with two down. Runners at second and third. And the pitch is outside for a ball. Well, the RBI is coming on a couple of balls that put together might have made it out of the infield. There's that breaking ball that's in for a strike. Reimold 1-1. 3-game hit streak for Nolan Reimold, and a base hit here will score 2 runs. Davis and Hardy on the base paths. Catches the outside corner, 1-2. Reimold 3 at bats against Wright. He's gone 1 for 3. Orioles with 2 runs in here in the 6th inning. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and he got him. So Wright will get the strikeout, but the Orioles will add a couple of runs. They do it in this inning on some ground balls, and it's 5-1. More than 3 runs in any of the 12 games this season. Felix Dubron pitching tonight at Cleveland, keeping that going so far. He's allowed only a couple of runs through 5. That is the longest streak at 12 games to start a season in Red Sox history. Toronto's in the market. They need a shortstop. Jose Reyes will be out about 3 months, and they are using Kawasaki right now. They're looking to find somebody else if they can cut a deal. And the Red Sox have called up knuckleballer Steve Wright from AAA Pawtucket. They've placed Joel Hanrahan on the 15-day DL with that right hamstring strain, so they've lost their closer for the moment.
Well, the Red Sox have about 4 closers out in that bullpen, it seems like, right? Bailey was a closer. Ahura's pitching great.
Bailey has taken that job over for the moment. So Roberto Hernandez in 5 1/3 innings gave up 5 hits. There were 5 runs scored, only 3 earned. A couple of walks, 1 intentional, 7 strikeouts. And we're in the 7th inning. Orioles with a 5-1 lead. Lobaton is popped out, struck out. He'll foul off the delivery by Troy Patton. Patton came on to get the 3 outs in that 6th inning. Pedro Strop up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Arrieta 5+, a run on 3 hits. Chance to be the winning pitcher and get his first decision of the season. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Lobaton takes it on the outside corner, 2-2.
Now that's an unhittable pitch right there. Great location from Troy Patton. Down and away. That is the go-to spot for pitchers.
Two delivery. Came back in a little bit. Foul back. Count will stay at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So on the season now for this Tampa Bay team, they have been outscored 59-36 so far. They came in with just a .205 batting average. Opponents hitting .251. And a little chopper. Patton. Lobaton retired. 1 down, 7th inning. The Junior Orioles Dugout Club, Birdland's best value in family entertainment. Kids 14 and under. Tickets to 10 games. The exclusive club hat, membership card, backpack, and more, only $20. Members even get exclusive giveaway items at each game. Family and friends can get tickets starting as low as $6 with a chance to upgrade to the lower deck. 888-848-BIRD. Orioles.com/dugout club. Headgear not included. I like that thing.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Seen you try and do that numerous times with your quaff. Here is Sean Rodriguez.
Wait a second. That's not right.
And Buck Showalter, as soon as the announcement is made, will head out to the mound. Dueling managers, as happens in Major League Baseball in this day and age. Virtually every game, and those starters are out of there. The bullpen goes to work. Pedro Strop will be coming out of the pen, and Rodriguez will be at the plate with the Orioles leading. Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick. Beautiful evening here. The Orioles so far, beautiful evening for them. They've got the lead, and Strope's on the mound.
Yeah, Pedro Strop has been in 5 games. That earned run average got kicked up a little bit, 6.23. But trust me, Pedro Strop has great stuff, and that earned run average is going to go down fast. Power fastball, a tight slider, great strikeout pitch for him.
Rodriguez 0 for 4 off Strop, pinch hitter, first at bat, Sean Rodriguez. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count as he went through that one. Well, the Oriole speedballer on the mound with 1 down, nobody on here in the 7th inning. Top of the order, Jennings on deck. That one broke outside, and a 2-ball, 1 strikeout. Strop gets it in. That'll be fouled away. Pedro Strop, in the 3-game set that was played to open the year at the Trop, worked in just 1 game, and that's where that ERA got bumped. He gave up 3 earned runs, 4 hits in 1 inning. Here's the 2-2 delivery, and right through it.
Well, that's a live fastball right there, 96 miles an hour up in the zone, and it just takes off up and in. No chance for Rodriguez to get to this pitch.
So a 2 down, nobody on. Here is Desmond Jennings. He will face Strop for the first time. Home run, first pitch of the ball game since he has popped out, struck out. His first home run of the year and his second RBI. And Jennings takes the pitch for a ball. 26 years old, Desmond Jennings, center fielder now for the Rays, and he can chase him down. That one is going to miss, and the count goes to 2-0. Broken bat, Manny Machado. That's that. 7th inning, 3 up, 3 down. 7th inning stretch time, Jackie Robinson Day at Camden Yards. Gary Thorne, Mike Bordick, we welcome you back to Camden Yards. Jackie Robinson being celebrated here in this ball game. Mike, we were talking about this before the game. According to the New York Times today, the sales of Jackie Robinson's replica jerseys have jumped 1,000% in the first 2 weeks of the regular season from the sales last year at the same time. His jerseys are outselling all current player jerseys. How about that?
That's very impressive. Obviously, he had such a huge impact, obviously, on the game, but to the whole world, really, the civil rights movement and everything. But of course, the movie coming out this year impacted that. But it's great that that's out there now. Everybody knows about the history of Jackie Robinson if they haven't, with this movie, and of course the memorabilia sales going up, and just. As each generation goes, the awareness is going to grow about Jackie Robinson, and certainly the legend will live forever.
Yeah, it's. I love it to see that the kids are actually taking an interest in it. Talked about how Adam Jones has added to that work with the RBI program, and a special committee formed, as many baseball fans know, by the commissioner to look into the dropping numbers of minority players at the major league level and in pro baseball, particularly African Americans. That committee was formed last week and is going to work to see what they can do to get minorities back into the game of baseball. 2-ball, 1 strike count on Nate McLouth. McLouth, a double, a walk. He has scored twice in the ball game. Bottom of the 7th inning. Jamie Wright on the mound. 2-1 delivery, and McLouth will take it for a strike. 2-2. Sean Rodriguez has stayed in the ball game to play left field.
They have some very versatile players on this Tampa team. And Sean Rodriguez, a very good infielder, but showing his versatility, being able to slide to the outfield, and just about every player can do that.
Slow roller, second base, Zobrist, and he gets him. Speaking of versatile players, there's Ben Zobrist, who's one of the most versatile. Follow the Orioles all season long. MLB.com at bat on your iPhone, iPad, Android. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat 31826 or go to Orioles.com for details. Manny Machado coming up. RBI double in the first inning. He is 1 for 3. And that will be taken for a ball. Nick Markakis waiting on deck. The woes continue for Tampa Bay with only 3 hits in the ball game. They've had 10 or fewer hits for the last 10 games. That is the longest streak in Major League Baseball, and it sure looks like it's going to keep going tonight. Grounded to second base, Zobrist perfectly positioned. Machado is retired, 2 down.
Well, you see that a lot with the Rays. They really have a great scouting program as far as understanding hitters' tendencies and the positioning. Obviously, Joe Madden, one of the first managers to really be aggressive in the shifts and moving players around, filling up the tendencies of hitters. You see time and time again, balls hit directly to infielders. Very adept at studying hitters' tendencies.
2 away, Markakis. That'll be outside for a ball. Nick RBI single, drew a walk. Scored in the 6th inning, one of the 2 unearned runs that scored. So a 1 for 2 officially. He's now 3 for 16 against the Rays on the year. 1-0 delivery. And the Orioles right fielder will take it for a strike from Wright. Pedro Strop came on in the 7th inning. Coming back out, we would assume. And fouled off the other way by Markakis. Orioles with their 6-6 record. 2 games out behind the Red Sox starting the day. Tampa Bay 4-8, 4 games out. Boston's leading Cleveland 7-1 tonight, 5th inning in Cleveland. The Yankees have a 3-2 lead over Arizona, 5th inning in New York. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And that one is bounced by Wright. 2-2. Wright with a 2-2. Broken bat. That's going to fall in for a base hit. And Markakis is on again. So another 2-hit ball game as he delivers with 2 down here in the 7th inning.
Let's find a way. He never ever gives up an at bat. Doesn't matter what the score is. Always a quality AB from Nick Markakis, and he fights one off for another knock.
There's a Ramos up in the bullpen. Hickey coming back to the mound. For Nick Markakis now, that's going to be his 4th multi-hit game. 3 of them have been with 2 hits, and he's had 1 4-hit ball game. So Hickey out to chat. Adam Jones coming up. Six hits in the ball game for the Orioles. Tampa Bay costly error on that play made by Longoria, allowing 2 unearned runs in the inning. When you're not scoring, you give up those, you're in trouble. We've noted how Tampa Bay went from the best defense 2 years ago to the worst defense last year. Only 5 errors have been committed this season, but they've been costly, and that one was tonight.
Yeah, last year, of course, defense slipped because Evan Longoria was out for much of the season, so trying to fill in for the Gold Glove third baseman.
Jones with a big cut on right. 2 down, a runner at first base, Markakis. There's the 0-1 delivery, and that one is going to miss. Adam Jones has faced right 11 times. He is 3 for 11 against him with a home run. Adam continues to have a great start. 407, 11 RBIs, 1 long ball, and that's in the dirt. Lobaton with a nice stop holds the runner at first base. Attendance here at the ballpark tonight, 14,670. 14,670 for the opener of the 3-game set. 2-1 delivery. Jones, there's another shattered bat. Wright able to snag that, makes the play over to Duncan for the out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. The Orioles have won 96 consecutive games when they lead after 7. Looking for 97. Sarasota, Florida, home of Orioles spring training, also a great culinary adventure destination. From fresh local seafood to an array of Sagat-rated restaurants. Learn more, visit SavorSarasota.com. A number of those restaurants right downtown on Main Street in Sarasota, where it was 88 degrees today, and it's 75 right now. But a beautiful evening here in Baltimore. 73 when we started, and very comfortable, and a good ball game for Oriole fans. 5-1. Pedro Strop indeed does stay on, and the pitch will be fouled away. Kelly Johnson, the designated hitter, he has walked twice and struck out. Zobrist and then Longoria due up against Strop. One pitch to him is going to be taken up high.
Joe Madden, we talked about his struggling offense, and he's always just trying to mix up the lineup, figure out what lineup works. He's already had 11 different lineups here in 12 games, 13 games. But that's a consistent pattern for him. Last year, he did the same thing. He actually had 151 different lineups, which is amazing, I think. I think
162 games.
Yeah, most players would like to come in and have a consistent lineup, at least have a regular routine, you know. But had to mix it up, always trying to find the right matchup. And this year hasn't been able to find the right one.
That'll be foul back, and it remains a 2-ball, 2-strike count. There haven't been any right buttons to push for him so far. I mean, there's virtually the entire lineup's not working. And when that's the case, you just got to hang with them and hope somebody comes through. The Orioles, of course, have been carried here by Jones, Davis. Nick Markakis has been his usual steady self. And now Orioles waiting to get some help. McLouth is delivering in that leadoff spot, getting on, scoring runs, getting hits. Wieters gets the home run tonight, looking for the others to get going to give some help to the 2-3 big stars.
Right.
3-ball, 2-strike count from Strop. Kelly Johnson waiting on the full count. Left center field. McLouth back. Wall. Goodbye. Home run. So Kelly Johnson, the designated hitter, delivers a leadoff homer here in the 8th inning. And the second run up on the board for the Rays. Both have come via the home run. Kelly Johnson gets his second.
Yeah, Kelly Johnson showing the power that he has. This one driven out into the left center field gap. Pedro Strop supplies a lot of the power with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and he gets it on the barrel, and it gets out of the park quick.
Kelly Johnson delivers his 3rd career home run here in this ballpark. And the pitch will be taken outside. Here's Ben Zobrist. Zobrist has drawn a walk, struck out, and flied out. Playing at second base tonight. Pitch will miss, and the count goes to 2-0. Strop and Jennings with the home run. Home runs for Tampa Bay. First home run allowed by Strop this season. 2-0 delivery, and that's outside. And now Wieters is going to go out and have a word.
Yeah, a little frustrated giving up that home run late in this ball game. Lost a little bit of his focus right there, so Matt Wieters out to try to calm him down a little bit.
Series in Tampa Bay. The Orioles won the opener 7-4. They lost the middle game 8-7, and then won the 3rd game at the Trop 6-3. Second series meeting for these teams this year. Comes in with a fastball 4, strike to Zobrist, 3-1. Left-hander Brian Mattis for the Orioles in the bullpen. Zobrist a 2 for 6 lifetime off Strop, 3-1, and walked him. Now it gets a little dicey. There's nobody out here in the 8th inning. And you got Longoria, Joyce, due up.
Rick Adair coming out to speak with Pedro Strop. Give Brian Mattis a little bit of time out there, and Darren O'Day.
So the discussion going on. Let's take a look at this date in baseball history. On the 16th of April in 1929, opening day, the Indians became the first team to wear jersey numbers, and they just beat out the Yankees. The Yankees would have been first, but the Yankees had a game against Boston washed out by rain, so Cleveland got to have that mark. And in 1946, Harry Truman becomes the first president to throw out the first pitch left-handed. It was the Senators' 6-3 loss to the Red Sox at Old Griffith Stadium. All on this date. Brian Mattis joined by Darren O'Day.
Well, there certainly isn't supposed to be any let up you know that this lineup is going to come to life at one point. You still have to make quality pitches, especially here in the heart of this order.
Longoria gets a hold of that one to left center field, way back, and goodbye home run. It is a one-run ball game. Evan Longoria takes the first pitch from Pedro Strop and launches a homer, good for 2 RBIs. And it's 5-4.
Longoria jumps on this first pitch fastball, pretty much center cut. And he makes a living off hitting mistakes.
So that high earned run average we saw that Pedro Strop has is going to jump again. As all 3 hitters in this inning have scored, the home run by Kelly Johnson, Zobrist drew the walk, the home run by Longoria, 1-run game. Mattis on to pitch. Here are the candidates tonight. Jake Arrieta, 5+ a run on 3 hits. Matt Wieters delivering the home run that came in the 2nd inning. And Nate McLouth, who scored a couple of runs, a walk and a double. Text in your vote A, B, or C, 31826. Pedro Strop not happy.
No, Pedro very upset. I mean, his stuff is too good to have that elevated earned run average, and just a little bit of a loss of focus there in the 8th, giving up a couple home runs. But Brian Mattis comes in here 4 games this year, 2.25 earned run average, has been very effective coming out of the bullpen. 4 strikeouts, just 1 base on balls, and we got ourselves a ball game here. Matt Joyce now up.
Mattis worked 1 ball game in the first series, 1 inning. He gave up a run and a hit, and the pitch will be taken for a strike. Joyce getting to see the left-hander again, double, single, and he is flied out. So Tampa Bay here in the 8th inning gets right back into it. Pitch will miss down low for a ball. The walk to Zobrist mattered as he would come around with Longoria's home run, Longoria's 2nd home run of the season. Here's the 1-1 delivery to Joyce, and that is inside, 2-1. Tampa Bay gets out of that streak of 5 games with 2 or fewer runs a ball game. Two ball, 1 strike count. That one is ripped, but it's foul. Two lefties out of the bullpen tonight, with Patton and Mattis both being used. 2-2 delivery, and that's fouled the other way. And it'll stay 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the Orioles defense just had an audible call. Everybody shifted. Ryan Flaherty got a little bit deeper out into right field. Manny Machado slid over to J.J. Hardy's spot. And Hardy about 10 feet over on the second base side of second.
And the 2-2 foul tipped.
Real
Got
good
so
tip.
far out in front on that foul ball, he fouled off. They figured, oh, he's going to be pulling.
Right. Very aggressive, trying to tie this ball game up.
Yep. He's 0 for 1 facing Mattis. Escobar waiting on deck. Take a look here. See if Wieters got a piece of this, or it got a piece of him. Oh, the umpire.
Oh. Yeah, umpire took the brunt of that one.
Harry Davis took that one, and Wieters went out to the mound. Two balls, 2 strikes. And hard hit right into the shift. Hardy makes the play. Joyce retired.
Nice adjustment there by infield coach Bobby Dickerson, moving everybody along.
That'll be it for Mattis. So he'll work just a third of an inning. And Darren O'Day will come on with the bases empty here in the 8th inning, and Escobar due up for Tampa Bay. Orioles lead it, but now it's just 5-4.
And he has been fabulous at the start of this season. You see him climbing the ladder with that fastball. Got a great slider, super sinker to go along with it. And look at him, 6 games, nothing on the board for earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Certainly a great pitcher in tough situations. Buck Showalter bringing him in this tight ball game here in the 8th inning.
O'Day worked a couple of games in the first series against the Rays, went 2 1/3 innings, gave up no runs, just 1 hit, no walks, and a strikeout. So he's back for the 3rd time against Tampa Bay this year. Here is Escobar, 1 down, nobody on, 3 runs in here in the 8th inning on homers by Kelly Johnson and Evan Longoria. O'Day's delivery to him, that's towards the middle. Hardy's got it. Pitch in and out.
Nice play by J.J. ranging to his left. Other good positioning.
Now an at bat to be very careful with. We talked about players who would be swinging to try and tie the ball game up. That's exactly what Shelley Duncan's going to be doing. He's had only 1 at bat, 6th inning flied out.
He has one thing on his mind when he steps into the box. And it's hit it as far as he can.
So Duncan, who came on as a pinch hitter, stayed on to play at first base. Will take the pitch inside for a ball. Duncan's 1 for 3. Off O'Day. 1-0 count. And that's there for a strike. Home run, 5 RBIs. Duncan has drawn 1 walk, has struck out 6 times in 27 at bats. Son, of course, of Dave Duncan, the longtime pitching coach with Tony La Russa with the White Sox and then the Cardinals. 1-1 delivery on the way. Heading to go after one up high. 1-2.
Boy, he induces a lot of chases on this pitch. Most hitters looking to elevate that sinker, but this pitch never ever comes down. It keeps rising up over the bat. Another great pitch by O'Day.
One ball, 2 strike delivery, and a ground ball to short. Hardy is going to have to make a long throw, and a pick, can't get it. Ball gets away, but Duncan cannot move up. So he will stay at first base. Wieters is going to tag him. No, he didn't turn, so they're not even going to argue about it. So Duncan is on.
Well, great play by J.J. Hardy here, ranging far to his right. Quick plant and throw. Tough in between hop for Chris Davis. You see him try to get back behind that ball. Tough ball to pick. He can't come up with it.
So that'll keep the inning alive. It is a base hit. That's fair. Duncan on at first base. And Roberts will come on as the pinch hitter. Ryan Roberts for the catcher. Runner at first, 2 down. And Roberts will take it for a strike. Roberts has faced O'Day a couple of times. He is 0 for 2. Roberts has had just 5 hits in the 22 at bats. They've all been singles. 0-1 delivery to him, going for more than a single there, and missed it.
Well, typically Darren O'Day he has great location with that pitch just above the strike zone. A lot of hitters bite on it.
Oriole fans up, looking for the final out here in the 8th inning. O'Day's 0-2 delivery, and he got it. 3 runs in, 3 hits, no errors, 1 left on base. Suddenly a 1-run game going to the bottom of the 8th inning. $50 to support the Y of Central Maryland's Fit and Fun program. To date, the Orioles have drawn 39 walks, a total of $1,950. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning and to the bullpen, the Rays.
Well, Cesar Ramos in relief here. 7 games this season. A lofty 8.31 earned run average. Used kind of as a lefty matchup pitcher. A lot of times in middle relief as well. That's the way he was used last year. Pretty good fastball. He's able to locate it in and out. Has a curveball, changeup, and a slider to go along with it.
So Ramos on for Jamie Wright, who worked an inning and 2/3. Had a strikeout and 1 hit against him. Jose Molina will be coming on to do the catching, waiting for him to make his way out. And Chris Davis will be coming up for the Orioles. So Molina, he had his mask broken on a game in Boston. They couldn't find that molded mask in time, so he went back out and took a batting helmet and an old catcher's mask and put it on and used it as the mask for the remainder of the ball game.
Nice.
Now he's got his regular one on. Well, the Orioles would like to add to a 1-run lead. They had a 5-1 lead. 3 runs in the 8th inning on the homers by Kelly Johnson, and Longoria's 2-run shot have made it a 5-4 ball game. Ramos worked a couple of games against the Orioles in Tampa Bay, 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, and the pitch will be taken down low for a ball. Davis 0 for 3 lifetime off the left-hander. Shift in play here. The 1-0. And that one's going to miss. 2-0.
Yeah, they pulled Zobrist and Escobar way over on the second base side, but you see Longoria, and it starts to creep back right now, but he's in honoring the bunt. And now 2-0. Great hitters count. I expect Chris Davis to not bunt in this situation, but try to hit the long ball.
He has struck out, grounded out, drew an intentional pass. 2-0 delivery to him, and that's bounced. And Molina's getting beaten up here in the first 3 pitches. 3-0.
He spikes this fastball here. Molina not very happy about it. About a foot in front of the plate and catches it right in the side. No padding there.
And I was having such a good night watching the game. Here's the 3-0 delivery, and Davis will take it inside. 4 in a row. Davis is on to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. That will bring Joe Madden out, and that's going to be it. Ramos will come out of there with no part of an inning pitched and charged with the walk. And the matchups continue in this ball game. 5-4, bottom of the 8th. The Orioles up by 1, trying to add to it. Chris Tillman taking the mound against Matt Moore. Our coverage on MASN HD begins at 6:30. O's Extra presented by Geico, followed by our game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on MASN.
New pitcher on, Brandon Gomes, been in 5 games already this season, 1.93 earned run average, and you're going to see pretty interesting delivery here. Kind of funky from the right side, little 3/4 arm slot. Pretty effective though. I think Madden may use him in some long relief appearances this year. Pretty much a specialist guy, maybe 1 inning up to this point, but with Neiman on the DL, might see him pitch more in some long relief roles.
So Gomes will work with a runner at first base. Matt Wieters up, shift is on. Matt had a home run in the 2nd inning, his 2nd of the year, 1 for 3 in the ballgame. Shows bunt and does. Gomes looks to second. He'll go to first, and it's picked up by Shelley Duncan as he threw it in the dirt. A sacrifice for Matt Wieters.
Yeah, pretty impressive right there. Wieters squaring early, getting a tough pitch down. Kind of catches the Rays off guard a little bit. And Gomes almost throws that one away. Nice play by Duncan on the end.
That is the first major league sacrifice for Matt Wieters and the 2nd of his professional career. He had 1 in Frederick back in 2008. So a runner in scoring position for the Orioles, and a strike taken by Hardy. Hardy reached on an error, has popped out and struck out. 0 for 3 tonight. Hardy 0 for 2 lifetime off Gomes. Gomes, 28-year-old right-hander. 0-1. 0-2. Gomes' numbers have been outstanding in his career against right-handers. They've hit only 191 against him in his career. Lefties are another story at .312. Orioles 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They have to wait. Molina out.
You know, sometimes with a runner at second base, if pitcher shakes, there's confusion on how he's going to go with the sign. So trying to get on the same page probably there.
Davis off second. Pretty good secondary lead. 0-2 deliveries, another one of those choppers back to the mound. Gomes throws a fastball this time and gets it to Duncan. Over to third base goes Davis. Or 2 down. So 2 away here in the 8th inning.
Second baseman,
Ryan Flaherty coming up. RBI and a ground ball out his last time up. Couple of strikeouts. Officially 0 for 3. Oriole closer getting ready to go. Didn't look like this was going to be a save situation ball game. It is right now. Pitch outside to Flaherty. Looking for the 2-out RBI. Gomes the 1-0. Another breaking ball. It's going to miss. 2-0. Tampa Bay bullpen came in ranked 13th in ERA, 5.28. Two-0 count. Davis off third. Flaherty takes a fastball. Yankees beating Arizona 4-2 in their ball game. Red Sox on the verge of winning theirs. And the Red Sox have Yankees is a final. They did win their ball game against Arizona. Here's the 2-1, and that's going to be foul back.
Well, Gomes has a pretty good split finger, and you wonder if he's going to have the guts enough, or Molina, to call that pitch with a runner at third base in this situation. That run ends up scoring. That's a huge run going into the 9th inning.
Two count. Davis off third. And that'll be put in the air to left field. Rodriguez over and will make the catch. So that will do it here in the 8th inning. A runner left on at third. Buckle them up, sports fans. Here comes Johnson in the 9th inning. Fares online only at southwest.com. By Just for Men. Just for Men Auto Stop is foolproof. Gray is over. And by Acura. Well, the ball game that had rolled along in the Orioles' favor with a 5-1 lead until the 3-run 8th inning. Now a 1-run game. Each team with 6 hits. And here's Jim Johnson.
Jim Johnson, the closer. He's been in 6 games so far this year, and 5 for 5 in save opportunities. 6 strikeouts, a couple base on balls, but when he's on, he buries that sinker down in the zone. You see a lot of top balls, easy ground balls for this Orioles infield.
It will be 9, 1, and 2 in the order. Sean Rodriguez will lead it off, batting 9th. He struck out. Casillas come on. Alexei Casilla to play at second base for Flaherty. We're in the 9th inning. And a strike on the outside corner. Jim Johnson worked 2 games, 2 saves. In the Orioles' 2 wins against Tampa Bay at the Trop. A couple of innings. He gave up no runs on 2 hits with a walk and a strikeout in those games against Tampa Bay. 25 consecutive saves for Jim Johnson. Outside corner strike, 2-2.
Great pitch right there by Jim. Kind of lost one on the inside corner, but really opened up the outside corner and just painted on Rodriguez.
Here's the 2-2. Rodriguez takes it. Johnson, lifetime 11 out of 15 in saves against the Rays, and has a 2-0 record. ERA of 1.91 in 41 games, covering 42 innings. 3-2 delivery. Rodriguez, Hardy, long throw, and he got him. Updating you on the voting AT&T Player of the Game. The numbers so far: Matt Wieters on top. Still time for you to vote, A, B, or C. 31826. The results in the O's Extra post-game show. That's a big play by Hardy.
Yeah, that was a great play by J.J. Once again, showing his range, really showing it off tonight. Good one up the middle, had to quickly set his feet and makes that strong throw.
So 1 down in the ninth. Jennings, the home run, first pitch of the game, 1 for 4. 0 for 4 lifetime off the Oriole closer. Here's the 0-1 to Jennings. That's outside. Keep in mind the Orioles have that big number of 96 consecutive wins when they have a lead after 7 innings, which they did, of course, in this ball game. 1-1 delivery, and that's their first strike. One-two delivery. Making them all close on the outside part of the plate. Two-two delivery. Thought about it, bounces away, and another 3-2 count. Arrieta's got a chance to be the winner. Roberto Hernandez, pitcher of record, on the other side. That'll be fouled off. By the way, that record we were talking about with the Orioles, those 96 consecutive regular season game wins with a lead after 7. It's the 3rd longest streak for any club during the expansion era, going back to 61. Yankees had 116 wins, Braves 97. And a chopper down to third. Machado being asked to play deep. Bare hands it, guns it. Oh, mercy. 2 down.
And that was something special right there. Great pitch by Jim Johnson. Even better play by Manny Machado. Very aggressive first step. Has to barehand it because of the speed of Jennings. Puts it right on the money. See him open his palm. Catches it right in the fingertips. Hallelujah for those big fingers, right?
Threw a forkball over there.
Great play.
2 down, 9th inning. Kelly Johnson inside to him. Johnson, a home run in the 8th inning. 2 walks, and he has struck out. 0 for 2 against Jim Johnson. Machado, Hardy, 2 big defensive plays here in the 9th inning. Tampa Bay staring 4 losses in a row in the face here. Foul back.
Take another look here at Manny Machado. He comes in at the fingertips now. He does not throw the ball that way. He's going to make an adjustment with his hand. You see his fingers slide over the top. That's what the impressive thing about it. Such a great feel for the baseball.
And he gets a chance to end it, and he does. And the Orioles come away with a 5-4 win in this opener of 3. It is their second 1-run win of the year. They are 2-3 in that department. And they beat the Rays for the 3rd time out of 4. Final score, the Orioles 5 and the Rays 4.